Welcome to Novel Love Hearing. We bring you hundreds of novel audiobooks covering every genre and every kind of story you can imagine. Action? We've got it. Adventure? Absolutely. Horror? Of course. Whether it's the legendary Uchiha Massacre or outrageous tales like stealing Naruto's and Sasuke's women, you'll find it here. From epic series like One Piece, Bleach, Fairy Tail, and Hunter x Hunter, to countless other adventures, our library has it all. Love novels but don't have time to read? No worries, just plug in your earbuds, sit back, and let the story take over. Good listening, and happy hearing. Enveloping the crew in smoke, then used smoke propulsion to lift them into the air. Although this method consumed significant stamina, Rowan's physique had reached the pale gold tier. Plus, the snowy mountain wasn't actually that high in terms of vertical distance. Rowan's current stamina could handle the exertion. Then, we'll leave our ship in your care, Mr. Dalton. Rowan called down with a smile. Leave it to us. Dalton replied earnestly. Whoosh. Driving the smoke fruit at full power. Rowan propelled the group upwards towards the mountain peak with powerful jets of smoke. Cling. Cling. A reindeer pulled a sleigh, seemingly running through the air. But upon closer inspection, a rope connected the sleigh and reindeer to the snowy peak above. On the sleigh sat a woman. White-haired but full of vigor, bearing a striking resemblance to a witch. Soon, the reindeer pulled the sleigh onto the summit, arriving before the castle. We've arrived, Dr. Ain. The reindeer spoke, startlingly human-like. Chopper, go get me some plum wine to warm up. Hey. Dr. Kira let out her signature witch-like cackle. Yes, Dr. Ain. Chopper nodded obediently. Whoosh. Just then, accompanied by billowing smoke, a group of people shot up from below the mountain peak. The man in the center had his limbs completely transformed into smoke, using it to carry the others. A monster. Chopper screamed, his eyes bulging as he transformed from his reindeer form into his hybrid heavy point form. The small, tanuki-like appearance he usually showed people. Calm down, Chopper. He's just like you. A devil fruit user. Is that a logia? Dr. Kira, having lived for so long, naturally knew about logia fruits, observing Rowan calmly. Devil fruit user? Chopper blinked. Born with a blue nose, ostracized by his parents, then further exiled from the herd after accidentally eating the human fruit. He tried to integrate with humans in his human form but was treated as a monster. This was the first time he had seen another devil fruit user like this. Someone whose entire body could turn into smoke. He really is a monster. The timid Chopper felt terrified. A talking tanuki? No wait, he was a reindeer just now. The crew stared wide-eyed at Chopper. A talking tanuki that can walk on two legs. How interesting. Hey. Be my comrade. Luffy, instantly fascinated by the strange creature, beamed, extending an invitation loudly. I'm a reindeer. Bastard. Chopper yelped, terrified, trying to hide behind Dr. Kira but comically hiding the wrong way. Then, Chopper blinked again. See, comrade? Chopper stared blankly at Luffy. That's right. We're pirates. So? Wanna come sail the seas with us? Luffy grinned broadly. Idiot. Acting like I'm not even here. Dr. Kira fumed, kicking Luffy hard on the head. The word comrade held too much significance for Chopper. Kira didn't want him reminded of painful past memories. Bonk. Luffy's head snapped back, his neck stretching absurdly long. A monster. Chopper screamed again, utterly terrified. Shishishi. I ate the Gamu Gamu fruit. I'm a rubber man. Luffy's head snapped back to normal, grinning cheerfully at Chopper. You pirates really are a bunch of monsters. What do you want here? None of you look sick. Dr. Kira stated gruffly. Ha. Granny, you must be the doctor, right? Sanjay asked, lighting a cigarette. Wham. Sanjay was instantly kicked away by Dr. Kira. I'm only 139 years young. Still in my prime. Dr. Kira snapped, veins popping on her forehead. 139 years old? Nami and Vivi gasped. They expected her to be old, but seeing someone 139 years old with such vigor was still shocking. Are you asking for the secret to my eternal youth? Dr. Kira immediately grinned smugly. Nobody asked that. Usopp retorted. May we come inside for a cup of tea? Rowan asked Dr. Kira politely with a smile. Follow me. Dr. Kira stared intently at Rowan for a moment, then turned and entered the castle. So, why exactly are you here? Kira asked again inside. Hey. Join us. You're really interesting. That rubber brat was constantly pestering her foolish son, leaving poor Chopper completely flustered. Luffy, sit down. Rowan stated calmly. Luffy instantly felt a chill, sweat beading on his forehead as he snapped to attention and sat down obediently. Wow. Chopper blinked, looking impressed by Rowan. We're looking to invite a skilled doctor to join our crew as our ship's doctor. Rowan explained, smiling at Dr. Kira. Oh? I have no interest in the sea. My youth won't be wasted out there. Kira replied dismissively. No. We came to invite him. Rowan clarified, pointing towards Chopper with a smile. Eh? Nami and the others, along with Chopper himself, gasped in astonishment. He's a doctor too? Amazing. Nami and Vivi exclaimed. Such an adorable creature was also skilled in medicine. You ate the human fruit, didn't you? How cute. Rowan commented, looking at Chopper, who looked even more exquisite than a figurine up close, and chuckled. May I touch your beautiful fur? Rowan added, gently petting Chopper's fluffy fur, thoroughly enjoying the sensation he'd long wanted to experience. Why you praising me won't make me happy, you bastard. Chopper wriggled happily, his eyes closing into cute crescents. Doesn't hide his feelings, does he? Nami chuckled, watching the adorable Chopper. How did you know all that? No, Chopper practices medicine, and no, he ate a human fruit? Dr. Kira asked, staring intently at Rowan. Let's just say I have a special connection to devil fruits. The fruit within him told me. Rowan replied with a smile. S.U.G. Rowan. Devil fruits can talk? Luffy, also a devil fruit user, stared wide-eyed. Of course. Powerful devil fruits, especially mythical zones among the animal types, often choose their own users. Rowan explained casually, picking Chopper up like a plush toy and holding him, smiling at Luffy. The devil fruit you ate. Isn't it the same? Just like Chopper's. The human fruit. Rowan stated calmly. Human fruit? Everyone stared wide-eyed. The same as me? Human fruit? Chopper stared back, his eyes widening dramatically, filled with turbulent emotion. For Chopper, born different and ostracized, the desire to find commonality with others was immense. Rowan's words struck a deep chord within him. Don't be ridiculous. There's only one of each devil fruit. Dr. Kira countered. Yeah, Rowan. I ate the gamu fruit. Luffy protested. There's only one base human fruit, yes. But there are many mythical zone models within the human fruit category. Rowan clarified with a smile. Ever heard this name? Human fruit model, sun god Nika devil fruit. Rowan's words made Dr. Kira's pupils constrict sharply. Chapter 80, hearing the name Nika, Dr. Kira's eyes widened, flickering with intense emotion. She hadn't heard of the human fruit model, sun god Nika devil fruit before. After all, it was the world government's greatest taboo, hidden for 800 years, its true nature disguised by the rubbery properties attributed to the Parimsha-type gamu fruit. Even someone who had lived 139 years like Drive Kira wouldn't know of this specific fruit. But Nika. Dr. Kira had heard of Nika. The legendary warrior of liberation. Fought to free slaves 800 years ago. Brought hope to the people back then. That's why he was revered as the sun god, Nika. Dr. Kira murmured, her words sending shockwaves through everyone present. Exactly. The previous owner of the Nika fruit was Joy Boy. The figure considered taboo by the world government during the Void Century. For 800 years, fearing this fruit's power, the world government relentlessly searched for it. But mythical zone fruits possess their own will, even the world government couldn't obtain it. Because this fruit grants the user a rubbery body, the world government hid its true name, calling it the gamu fruit to mislead the world. And Nika, after 800 years, chose you, Luffy. This devil fruit could arguably be called the strongest devil fruit. Round declared, laughing heartily. Joy Boy? The Void Century? Robin gasped, her eyes widening dramatically upon hearing these names. Sun God, Nika. The strongest devil fruit? Usopp, Sanji, and Zoro stared, dumbfounded. They never imagined Luffy's devil fruit was incredibly powerful. Thanks to Rowan, they knew there was a vast difference between strong and weak devil fruits. The strongest devil fruit. Just the title alone hinted at its astonishing power. But wait, Rowan. If Luffy ate the strongest devil fruit, why can he only stretch like rubber? Your smoke fruit seems way more useful. Usopp questioned, voicing his confusion. Because Luffy's devil fruit hasn't awakened yet. Rowan explained patiently, looking at the bewildered Luffy. Mythical zones are unique among animal-type fruits. Each grants the user a special ability. But that ability typically only manifests after awakening. The special ability granted by the Nika form is imagination. Imagination? Hearing such an abstract concept, everyone looked baffled. Even Dr. Kira, over a century old, leaned in, listening intently. This was a secret buried by the world government itself. That's right. Nika is also called the most ridiculous power. Its user can fight with complete freedom using their imagination. Whatever they can imagine, they can make real. Grabbing lightning to use as a weapon. Even creating things out of thin air. That's why this power bears the name of a god. Rowan explained with a calm smile. Imagination. What a broken ability. Hearing this, Zoro and Sanji almost wanted to curse out loud. They knew from Rowan that powerful devil fruits could be incredible, but this kind of ability sounded too exaggerated. Creating things from nothing? Commanding lightning? How could anyone possibly fight against that? Of course, that power only comes after awakening. Right now, Luffy, unawakened, can only utilize his rubber body for combat. Rowan clarified, smiling at Luffy. Devil fruit awakening? How do you do that? Luffy asked, his eyes shining brightly. This journey had constantly reminded Luffy of his own lack of strength. Against Logia users, he felt completely helpless. Luffy desperately wanted to get stronger. For his comrades, to help them achieve their dreams. And becoming Pirate King absolutely required immense strength. Hearing that awakening granted such incredible power filled Luffy with intense desire. Just be yourself. Rowan replied simply, smiling at Luffy. Be myself? Luffy looked confused. Nika represents the ultimate freedom. Just be the freest person you can be. When the time is right, awakening will happen naturally. Rowan explained. For a devil fruit to awaken, the user's inherent desires must align closely with the desire embedded within the fruit itself. The core desire within the Nika fruit was absolute freedom. Everything Luffy did, his entire way of being, perfectly aligned with Nika's inherent desire. Shishishi. Is that right? Of course. I'm gonna be king of the pirates. The freest person on the seas is a pirate king. Luffy grinned confidently. Hey. Quite a kid. Dr. Kira chuckled, smiling faintly. The freest person. Chopper murmured, remembering Dr. Hiroyuki, the man who treated him like a son, telling him stories about pirates. Chopper's large, innocent eyes filled with longing. The sea is vast, you know. There are quite a few human fruit users out there. Because of the unique nature of the human fruit, aside from the one you ate, which is a standard zone, the others are all precious mythical zones. For example, the current fleet admiral of the Marines, Sengoku, ate the human fruit model, Great Buddha Devil Fruit, granting him the power of a Buddha. Don't you want to see them for yourself? Rowan asked, noticing the yearning in Chopper's eyes. Buddha. S-U-G. Usopp gasped, filled with awe. Such legendary, mythological powers. Obtainable through devil fruits. Hearing Rowan's words opened up a whole new world for everyone. But if they're all human fruits, compared to those mythical zones, is there anything special about the one Chopper ate? Usopp asked curiously, looking at Chopper. Well, the base human fruit, being a standard zone, does seem rather normal compared to the mythical zone models. Rowan admitted with a smile. Normal? Hearing that word, Chopper froze. Chopper. Don't feel too bad. Devil fruits naturally vary in strength. Usopp tried to console him, but the next moment, Chopper became incredibly agitated. Normal? Are you saying I'm normal? Chopper looked excitedly at Rowan. The word normal. For Chopper, who was born different, rejected by his parents and herd, then treated as a monster after eating the fruit, felt more precious than any praise imaginable. Chopper. Dr. Kira murmured, her expression softening as she looked at Chopper. She understood exactly what that word meant to him. Though she had lived over 100 years, her expertise was medicine, her knowledge of devil fruits was limited. She couldn't comfort Chopper in the profound way Rowan just had. Of course. Zones are the most common type of devil fruit. Compared to you, we're the monsters. Ha ha ha. Rowan laughed heartily. Sniff. Normal. I'm normal. Doctorine. I'm normal. Chopper cried excitedly, turning to Dr. Kira. Yes. You're normal, Chopper. Dr. Kira replied, taking a deep breath and smiling warmly. But normal doesn't mean weak. Rowan added seriously, looking at Chopper. The human fruit's power isn't weak at all. It grants the user the power of the ultimate human. Ultimate human? Everyone stared, stunned again. That sounded incredibly powerful. That's right. The human fruit enhances the user's capabilities as a human. Strength, skin toughness, even the ability to transform into a giant form. And most importantly, intelligence. Chopper, your ability to speak, become a doctor. Doesn't it come from this power? Of course, manifested in your reindeer body, it enhances aspects like fur, arm strength, and antlers. The intelligence boost allows finding enemy weaknesses and is invaluable for research. It's a very strong ability. Rowan explained with a smile. The base human fruit, though often overshadowed by its mythical zone counterparts and jokingly called the commoner form, wasn't actually weak. It was potentially very strong. Sengoku's human fruit model, Great Buddha Devil Fruit form, demonstrated some of its capabilities, granting Buddha-like power, physique, and wisdom. Sengoku, being known as the strategist, owed much to the Buddha-like wisdom granted by the fruit. And the giant transformation? The base human fruit had that too. It was Chopper's monster point. Most importantly, for a human eating the human fruit, awakening was likely very easy. Being already human meant perfect alignment with the fruit's inherent desire, no conflict. Thus, a human eating this fruit wouldn't face the same hockey development obstacles other devil fruit users encountered due to conflicting desires. Essentially, a human eating the human fruit would gain all its benefits with almost no hockey drawback, virtually identical to a non-user in hockey potential. Chopper only lost control in Monster Point because he was originally a reindeer. A normal human eating it could likely achieve a combat form rivaling the human fruit model, Great Buddha Devil Fruit's size, becoming a giant, with all human attributes. Skin, bones, intelligence. Massively enhanced. Calling it the ultimate human wasn't an exaggeration at all. This devil fruit. Rowan would definitely equip it straight. SUG. What a strong ability. Chopper. Hearing Rowan's explanation, everyone felt like their understanding of the world expanded again. Usopp looked at Chopper with immense admiration. Ultimate human. That fits perfectly with his dream of becoming a brave warrior of the sea. Giant transformation. Isn't that being a monster? Chopper asked uncertainly, still slightly dazed. Of course not. We've met giants. They're true warriors of the sea. Incredibly respectable. Usopp immediately countered, thinking of the warriors he admired. Chopper looked at the admiration in Usopp's eyes, heard the praise from the others, and felt an overwhelming urge to cry. This was the first time anyone had looked up to him, praised him like this. All the things he thought were flaws seemed like strengths in their eyes. So? The sea is incredibly vast. Want to become our comrade and adventure with us? Rowan asked with a smile. Chopper blinked, then looked towards Dr. Kira. Kira knew Chopper was moved. Can you entrust Chopper to us? Let him become our comrade. Rowan asked Dr. Kira respectfully, standing up. Do whatever you want. Dr. Kira huffed dismissively. Yasha. A talking reindeer. Luffy cheered excitedly, looking at Chopper. Idiot. He's our ship's doctor. Zoro smacked Luffy on the head. Luffy's priorities were still bizarre. Wasn't Chopper's medical skill the most important thing? Though Zoro hadn't experienced it himself, Rowan said so, and Zoro trusted Rowan unconditionally. Welcome, Chopper. So cute, Chopper. And a doctor too. Chopper stared blankly at the enthusiastic praise from the crew, then awkwardly started doing his happy dance. Even if you praise me like that, it won't make me happy, you bastard. Chopper exclaimed, blushing furiously while dancing, his eyes closed into happy crescents. Ha ha ha. Seeing Chopper's reaction, everyone burst into laughter. By the way, this is Wapol's castle. That trash has already been dealt with by me. This is his key, must be for something in the castle, right? Rowan handed a key to Dr. Kira. This is. Dr. Kira's expression changed as she took the key. It was the key to the weapon vault, which actually contained Dr. Hiroyuki's research, pink dust designed to adhere to snowflakes, capable of making the perpetually snow-covered Drum Kingdom bloom like cherry blossoms. It was Hiroyuki's lifelong research and dream. Wapol was defeated? Chopper froze. Then, tears uncontrollably streamed down his face, and he bolted out of the castle. Chopper? Everyone except Rowan and Kira looked confused. Let's go see. Rowan suggested, knowing Chopper's outburst was because of Hiroyuki. Dr. Hiroyuki. Wapol was defeated by Rowan and his friends. Chopper cried, looking up at the pirate flag he had placed atop the castle. A skull surrounded by cherry blossom petals. It was the flag Hiroyuki had drawn. I want to go to sea. I want to be their comrade. Chopper, now in his human form, paid respects to Hiroyuki in a human way. The crew, having followed, learned Chopper and Hiroyuki's story from Dr. Kira and nearby and were deeply moved. Chopper. Let's go. To the sea. Luffy yelled towards Chopper, who had stood up again. Oh. Oh. Chopper looked at Rowan and the others, sobbing uncontrollably. For the first time, he had comrades. Dr. Kira silently returned to the castle. Doctorine. I'm leaving. I want to become a pirate. Chopper entered the castle, wanting to say goodbye to Dr. Kira. I take it back. You're my assistant. I taught you all my medical knowledge. Not so you could leave. Kira suddenly declared, her face stern. Eh? Chopper froze, bewildered. I said. I won't let you escape. Prepare yourself. Kira suddenly produced numerous knives, axes, and other sharp implements. She began throwing them towards Chopper, forcing him backwards. Don't think you can run. Kira yelled menacingly, but her throws deliberately guided Chopper towards the exit. Everyone. Run. Chopper transformed back into his reindeer form, quickly harnessing himself to the sleigh where the others, prompted by Rowan, had already climbed aboard. Chopper pulled the sleigh, fleeing towards the cliff edge. Ha! Silly son. Go chase your dream. Kira watched Chopper disappear into the distance, a faint smile on her lips as she wiped away a tear from the corner of her eye. She hated tearful goodbyes. Then, she turned and walked towards the weapon vault. After saying goodbye to Dalton and the others, Rowan's crew boarded the Going Merry. Oh no! I was in such a hurry to escape, I forgot my medical supplies. Chopper yelled, clutching his head. Here you go. They were already packed in the sleigh. Rowan handed Chopper a backpack. My bag. Chopper stared blankly for a moment, then his eyes reddened. He understood Dr. Ian's true intentions. Whoosh! Bang! The next moment, an explosion echoed from the mountain peak. Countless particles of pink dust rained down from the snowy summit, adhering to the falling snowflakes. From a distance, centered around the snowy mountain, it looked as though a giant cherry blossom tree had miraculously bloomed in the winter landscape. Dr. Ian. Dr. Hiroyuk. I'm OFF. Chopper yelled towards the mountain, his voice choked with emotion. Trait list equipable from Chopper updated. Human fruit equipping in progress. Chapter 81, Aboard the Going Merry. Nami and Vivi gazed, eyes sparkling, at the beautiful shower of cherry blossoms descending from the sky. For this perpetually snow-covered kingdom, the blooming cherry blossoms felt like a symbol of hope itself. It's beautiful. Even the usually composed Robin murmured, a gentle smile gracing her features. Chopper, still lost in fond memories of Dr. Hiroyuk, had tears welling in his eyes. Hey! Brothers. Before we reach Alabasta, what's the one thing we absolutely must do? We're pirates, after all. Rowan declared, standing up, adopting his villain expression. Can't miss out on this. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp grinned, standing up as well, mirroring Rowan's fierce expression. Together, they turned towards Chopper. Gulp. Seeing their expressions, the timid Chopper burst into tears of fright. What are they gonna do? Chopper shrieked as Rowan suddenly scooped him up. Of course. We have to throw Chopper a welcome party. Rowan laughed, holding Chopper aloft. Oh. Party time. Pirates always party. Luffy and Usopp immediately started singing and dancing. Sanji. One reindeer special pirate lunchbox. Rowan called out to Sanji. Leave it to me. Sanji replied with a grin. Hey, Chopper. A real man of the sea can't refuse a drink. Zoro offered, holding out 2 mugs of ale with a hearty laugh. Chopper stared, completely bewildered. A welcome party. Just for him? His eyes blurred, tears threatening to spill over again. Idiot. Are you crying? At a pirate party. You're only allowed to laugh. Ha 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 ha. Rowan laughed, looking warmly at Chopper. Check this out. The advanced version of the pirate chopstick dance. Luffy yelled, sticking 2 chopsticks up his nose again, connecting them to his mouth, then using his rubber powers to stretch his nose and mouth absurdly long. Ha 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 ha. Seeing Luffy's ridiculous display, Usopp and Zoro slapped their thighs, howling with laughter. Hey! Chopper! What are you waiting for? You try it too. Usopp joined in, performing his own chopstick dance, looking towards Chopper. You guys. Stop corrupting Chopper. Nami scolded, hands on her hips. But then she turned and saw Chopper attempting to stick chopsticks up his own nose. Don't copy them. Nami sighed, face-palming as the adorable, figurine-like Chopper adopted the ridiculous look. Ha ha ha. Reindeer noses work pretty well too. Rowan chuckled, thoroughly amused by Chopper's attempt. The Straw Hat Pirates nostril chopstick trio is officially complete today. Just then, Zoro and Sanji started arguing again over some minor disagreement, plates and cutlery flying. Luffy kept pestering Sanji for more meat. So? What do you think of a pirate party? Rowan asked Chopper with a smile. I've never been this happy before. Chopper mumbled, chopsticks still dangling from his nose and mouth, but his smile was utterly radiant. Is that so? Rowan smiled, then clapped his hands loudly. Instantly, the brawling Zoro and Sanji stopped. Luffy obediently stopped demanding meat. Vivi, Nami, and Robin all turned their attention to Rowan. Allow me to introduce our newest comrade, Ship's doctor, user of the human fruit. Tony Chopper. Rowan announced grandly. Welcome, Chopper. Cheers. Rowan raised his mug. Oh. Chopper beamed with pure joy. Cheers. Everyone raised their mugs together, laughing heartily. Human fruit equipping in progress. Progress increased. After Chopper's welcome party concluded, Rowan and the crew set sail towards their final destination before Alabasta proper, Nanohana. Splash. Thump. Thump. The sea churned, and numerous fish were suddenly tossed onto the Mary's deck. S.U.G. Rowan. So many fish. More meat to eat. Luffy cheered, watching Rowan climb smoothly back onto the deck from the ocean. Rowan. S.U.G. Chopper stared wide-eyed at the pile of fish. Both being devil fruit users, he and Luffy couldn't touch seawater. But Rowan not only swam freely in the deep sea every day but could also dive deep to catch fish like this. You idiots. You ate all the fishing bait. If it weren't for Rowan, we'd all be starving. Sanji yelled, kicking the sheepishly grinning Luffy and Usopp. Sorry. Luffy and Usopp apologized meekly. Rowan. Vivi approached, blushing slightly as she noticed the defined muscles of Rowan's exposed upper body, offering him a towel. Thank you. Rowan accepted the towel with a smile, looking at Vivi. Vivi blushed again, quickly looking away. She wanted to be braver, but the weight of Alabasta's situation still pressed heavily on her heart. Vivi had resolved that after Alabasta was saved, she would confess her feelings to Rowan. Rowan, through their interactions and his observation hockey, had already guessed Vivi's feelings. He didn't press the issue, content to wait until after Crocodile was dealt with. By the way, I saw those sea cats you mentioned down there. Rowan commented, smiling at Vivi. Sea cats? That means we've entered the waters around Alabasta. Vivi replied, her face lighting up with excitement. Sea cats were unique to Alabasta's waters, considered auspicious creatures by the locals. Since we're almost at Alabasta, let me offer you some crucial intelligence, Princess. Robin interjected, walking over to Vivi. Crocodiles. Operation Utopia. Robin proceeded to calmly detail Crocodile's entire sinister plan to Vivi. Operation Utopia. Crocodile's scheme to overthrow the Alabasta monarchy and seize control of the ancient weapon, Pluton. First, create Baroque works. Use his warlord status to build a reputation as Alabasta's hero. Under this cover, infiltrate Baroque works agents into all levels of Alabastan society. Have agents disguised as merchants smuggle large quantities of dense powder into the capital, hiding it to create the illusion the king was using the forbidden powder, inciting hatred among the populace and bolstering the rebel army's numbers. Through infiltrated agents in both the royal army and the rebel army, exacerbate hatred and provoke war. Finally, kidnap King Cobra, use Mr. Two's clone fruit ability to impersonate the king, directly attack the citizens to push the situation beyond control, forcing the royal army and rebel army into an unstoppable war. Completely overthrowing the Alabasta government. Transform Alabasta into a military state possessing Pluton, merely a tool for Crocodile's ambition. That was Crocodile's Operation Utopia. What an evil plan. Nami exclaimed indignantly after hearing Robin's explanation, looking with fury at Vivi, who stood trembling, her eyes red. Nami placed a comforting hand on Vivi's shoulder. I wondered how that dance powder got into the capital. Of course. It was Crocodile. Vivi choked out, biting her lip hard. Such a vicious plan. Step by step, pushing Alabasta into the abyss. She could only imagine. Without Rowan's help, under Crocodile's meticulous scheming, the Alabasta monarchy falling was almost certain. The resulting war would cause rivers of blood, countless citizens would die. Then why didn't you tell us this sooner? Give us time to prepare? Usopp demanded, still somewhat wary of Robin. Telling her sooner would have only plunged the princess into this state of distress earlier. Robin replied calmly, looking at Vivi, then shifting her gaze to Rowan. Besides, even telling you now isn't too late. Crocodile spent years building Baroque works, ensuring he had ample manpower. But now, thanks to Mr. Sky Sovereign eliminating most of his top agents, Crocodile is quite short-handed. And given Mr. Sky Sovereign's intellect, surely he has already devised a way to resolve this crisis. Robin finished, looking pointedly at Rowan. What Robin said was precisely why Rowan hadn't revealed this information to Vivi earlier. Under his and Nami's command, the Mary was already heading towards Alabasta at maximum speed, causing Vivi unnecessary anxiety beforehand served no purpose. Vivi. Rowan didn't address Robin directly, instead stepping closer to Vivi, looking intently into her reddened eyes. Leave it to me. I won't let you wear that expression again. Rowan stated firmly, then gently, almost playfully, ruffled Vivi's blue hair. Though the gesture was slightly rough, Vivi felt an immense sense of security wash over her. She looked up at Rowan and nodded firmly. Tears streamed down her face. When you have someone to rely on, even the strongest heart allows itself moments of softness. Vivi, after all, was still just an 18-year-old girl. Let's go to Alabasta, Rowan declared, looking towards the distant sea, a fierce crimson-black light flashing in his eyes. Ooh. The crew responded, their faces grim with determination as they stared towards the horizon. Vivi was their comrade now. What Crocodile had done was unforgivable. Under Nami and Rowan's joint command, the Going Merry soon sighted the coast of Alabasta. Along the way, they encountered numerous Baroque Orcs ships. Billions, the organization's foot soldiers, converging on Alabasta. Ignoring these small fry, the Merry arrived at Alabasta's first major port city. This is Nanohana, a large port city. We can replenish our supplies here first, Vivi explained, pointing towards the city. Though anxious, Vivi trusted Rowan, and understood restocking was essential. Even if Rowan could provide fish from the sea, traversing the desert required a large supply of fresh water. Wait. Why are there so many marine warships here? Usopp suddenly yelled, pointing towards the numerous warships stocked along the coastline, cold sweat beading on his forehead. And they're completely different from the marine ships we've seen before, Zoro added, his expression turning serious. These warships were significantly larger than those encountered in the East Blue. Their decks were reinforced with steel, lined with rows of massive cannons. They looked like colossal sea beasts patrolling the waters. Marine headquarters warships, Zoro concluded grimly. Interesting. Not just standard ships, but carrying some big names from the Navy too, Rowan commented, looking at the warships with keen interest. Smoker, who pursued them in the original story, had been stripped of his power and couldn't enter the Grand Line now. Didn't expect Marine headquarters would send even stronger forces instead. This level of naval deployment wasn't typical even for most vice admirals. Rowan already had a good guess who might be here, because the main sail of the central flagship bore a distinctive pink rabbit insignia. Within Marine headquarters, only one person used such a symbol. The big names? Usopp stammered, his legs starting to tremble again. For Rowan to call them big names. These weren't normal Marines. But relax. That person won't act recklessly, Rowan added calmly. If it were just them here, Rowan might have avoided contact. After all, obtaining Crocodile's fortune was his current priority. But they weren't alone here. Luffy's brother, Portgas D. Ace, was also present. With both of them around, even that person couldn't guarantee emerging unscathed from a serious fight. Alright, let's go buy supplies and materials for building desert transportation. I'm leaving that procurement to you, Usopp, Rowan instructed, turning to Usopp. Rowan had no intention of wasting time traversing the desert on foot like in the original story. With the Munch fruit ability and Usopp's inventor trait, Rowan could quickly construct a vehicle capable of smooth desert travel. Alright. Leave it to me, Usopp replied, puffing out his chest, still slightly nervous but eager to contribute. Finally, a chance for him to shine. Wait a minute. You guys will attract too much attention like this, Usopp suddenly yelled. Rowan. You know you have a 100 million Bailey bounty. A super rookie. Hailed as a future king of the seas. Super conspicuous. Famous across the world, Usopp exclaimed, standing before Rowan, sweating nervously. S.U.G. Chopper gasped upon hearing the string of titles, eyes bulging, looking at Rowan without a reverence. Hey. I've got a 45 million Bailey bounty too, you know. Luffy protested indignantly. Which is exactly why you both need to be more careful. If we cause a commotion, won't that big-name Marine come after us? Usopp argued seriously. Good point. Rowan nodded approvingly, making Usopp beam. But just having Vivi disguise herself should be enough. As long as Crocodile doesn't learn Vivi's whereabouts, it's fine, Rowan added with a smile. Eh? But that big name. Usopp started to protest, but was cut off by a commotion erupting from within the town. Hey! Whitebeard Pirates 2nd Division Commander, Fire Fist Ace, is here. Fire Fist Ace is facing off against the Marines. Get out of here quick. If you get caught in the crossfire, you'll definitely die. Civilians began fleeing frantically from the town center. Ace? Hearing the name, Luffy blinked. Fire Fist Portgas D. Ace. Rowan commented calmly with a smile. His observation hockey had already located Ace and the Marines. Dashiki is also here. Rowan smirked with interest. Ace. It really is Ace. Ace is here. Luffy instantly became ecstatic. Luffy, you know him? The Whitebeard Pirates? Is that the legendary Great Pirate? Usopp gasped upon hearing the name Whitebeard. I don't know who Whitebeard is, but Ace is my big brother. Luffy declared proudly, grinning widely. Eh? Everyone except Rowan stared, utterly shocked. Nanohana Town Square. A group of Marines currently surrounded a single man. Whitebeard 2nd Division Commander. Fire Fist Portgas D. Ace. State your purpose here. A tall, stunningly beautiful woman wearing a Marine Headquarters Vice Admiral's Justice coat, identifiable by a spider tattoo on her thigh, demanded, her beautiful eyes narrowed seriously. Marine Headquarters Vice Admiral. Admiral Candidate. Pink Rabbit Giant. Beside Giant stood Tashigi. And one other figure. A sexy woman with long pink hair, smoking a cigarette. Marine Headquarters Captain. Black Cage Hina. Chapter 82, Whoa. I didn't come here looking for a fight with you Marines. Ace said, adjusting his signature orange hat, looking exasperatedly at Giant. Ran into a troublesome one, huh? Ace's eyes held a serious glint. Against other Marine Headquarters Vice Admirals, he wouldn't be concerned. But this Pink Rabbit was different. Admiral candidates, though holding the Vice Admiral rank, possessed power on another level entirely. Our objective isn't you either. It's Sky Sovereign Rowan of the Straw Hat Pirates. Giant stated, her beautiful eyes narrowing slightly. However, as the 2nd Division Commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, your presence here cannot be ignored. If you choose to depart peacefully, I will not engage you. Giant's expression was equally serious. Fire Fist Ace was strong, but she wasn't afraid of him. The real problem was the man behind Ace. One of the 4 individuals reigning like emperors over the New World. One of the 4 emperors. The world's strongest man. Whitebeard, Edward Newgate. Facing that man. Forget her, an admiral candidate, even if all 3 current Marine admirals arrived, they couldn't clash with him without explicit permission from the highest authorities. Giant felt an urge to curse. She came here pursuing Sky Sovereign Rowan, but before even finding him, she ran into Fire Fist Ace. After the Logetown incident, Smoker, the original garrison commander, had returned to headquarters. The news that Rowan had stolen his smoke fruit caused a massive uproar within Marine headquarters. Smoker, due to his Logia ability, was considered a guaranteed future Vice Admiral, one of the key figures the Marines were grooming in the younger generation. Though the smoke fruit was low tier among Logias, it was still a Logia. The current 3 admirals were all Logia users, considered perhaps the strongest trio of admirals in Marine history. Yet now, that fruit had been stolen by Sky Sovereign Rowan. Sky Sovereign Rowan possessed the ability to steal others' devil fruits. Furthermore, Smoker's condition was strange. Completely drained of strength. After internal study, Marine Headquarters suspected this was a side effect of having a devil fruit stolen. This was precisely why Rowan had brazenly plundered Smoker's strength. The world had never seen an ability that stole everything. Lacking intel, even Marine Headquarters would misinterpret the situation based on existing knowledge, attributing the power loss solely to the fruit removal. Rowan letting this misconception persist actually helped obscure his true capabilities. Regardless, this alarming intelligence was immediately relayed to the Fleet Admiral Sengoku the Buddha. Upon learning the news, Sengoku felt an immense headache coming on. Sky Sovereign Rowan possessing Conqueror's Haki was already problematic. Now, he also had a Logia Devil Fruit ability? This man posed a massive future threat to the Marines. Sengoku was also puzzled. Why would Sky Sovereign Rowan choose the smoke fruit? With the power to hunt devil fruits, shouldn't he aim for stronger ones? Based on intel from his clash with Mihawk, the man clearly understood the power dynamics of the sea. For someone like him, a mere smoke fruit, even if Logia, should be beneath his notice. Understanding the true nature of this potential major threat's abilities became paramount for Sengoku. But the headache intensified. Sky Sovereign Rowan was part of the crew belonging to Garp's damn grandson, Monkey D. Luffy. Though Garp wouldn't say it aloud, Sengoku couldn't just dispatch the Hawk faction admirals to capture or kill Garp's grandson. Sending Dove faction admirals wasn't suitable either. He couldn't exactly order them to go easy on the crew. After much deliberation, Sengoku finally dispatched Vice Admiral Giant. Firstly, Giant's strength far surpassed normal Vice Admirals. She was more than capable. Secondly, Giant was the younger sister of Vice Admiral Tsuru, the great staff officer. A close friend of both Sengoku and Garp. Sending Giant allowed investigation into Rowan's true strength while also showing face to that old bastard Garp. Giant also brought along Captain Hina, Black Cage, another promising young female officer, and Tashigi, who had encountered Rowan in Logetown. After receiving intel that Rowan and the Straw Hats were heading towards Alabasta, Giant came here, only to unexpectedly run into Fire Fist Ace. Sky Sovereign Rowan? Straw Hat Pirates? Hearing these names, Ace's expression instantly changed. Originally, I didn't want to fight you. But if your target is Luffy. Whoosh. Flames erupted, engulfing Ace's entire body. "Come on, Marines. Let me see the strength of a Marine Admiral candidate," Ace declared gravely. "What do you think you're doing? Fire fist Ace. Are you trying to start a war?" Giant's expression turned grim as Ace activated his flare fruit. Fighting Ace here would have repercussions far beyond Alabasta and her mission. It could potentially draw the intervention of the man behind Ace. Whitebeard. She lacked the authority to engage Ace recklessly without approval. But Giant couldn't understand why Ace, who just said he didn't want to fight, suddenly changed his mind. The answer arrived moments later. "Ace. It really is Ace." An excited yell echoed nearby. "Luffy." Ace turned, his face breaking into a wide, joyous grin. "Straw Hat." Dashigi immediately recognized Luffy, then quickly scanned the area, searching for another figure. She wasn't disappointed. A figure slowly walked towards them. "Been a while, Tashigi." Rowan greeted her with a calm smile, then noticed the woman beside her. "So it really is Vice Admiral Giant." Dashigi bit her lip upon hearing Rowan's voice. "Sky Sovereign Rowan." Giant's gaze locked onto her primary target, her expression hardening. "Check traits." Rowan commanded inwardly, scanning both Giant and Ace. Giant traits: Great Swordsman, Deep Gold; Armament Hockey, Deep Gold; Observation Hockey, Deep Gold. Standard Admiral Candidate, for Emperor's Commander level combatant. Rowan's own expression turned serious. Although his ultimate technique could reach this level of power, a true life-or-death battle against Giant offered no guarantee of victory. But when Rowan saw Ace's traits, his pupils constricted sharply. Ace traits: Flare Fruit, Pale Gold; Unawakened, Conqueror's Hockey, Self-Loathing; Observation Hockey, Pale Gold; Armament Hockey, Self-Loathing; Great Flame Commandment, Flame Emperor, Deep Gold. Conqueror's Hockey, Self-Loathing, detests own Pirate King bloodline, consequently detests the Conqueror's Hockey inherited from it. Self-Loathing prevents its use. Seeing the Self-Loathing tag on Conqueror's Hockey, Rowan wasn't surprised. Ace grew up under a relentless negative propaganda campaign by the Marines, branding the Pirate King's bloodline as evil, something that shouldn't exist. This led to Ace's rebellious and violent early childhood, only softening after meeting Luffy and Makino. But such deep-seated childhood trauma couldn't simply fade with time, it festered. Ace completely losing his composure when reminded of his Roger lineage and during his challenge against Whitebeard proved this. Even during his execution, he utterly despised his own bloodline. Consequently, his Conqueror's Hockey was suppressed by this self-loathing, rendering it unusable. The same applied to his Armament Hockey. Self-loathing created a massive flaw in Ace's spiritual strength. In the One Piece hockey system, physical ailments, even incurable diseases, could often be compensated for by devil fruits. But spiritual flaws were different. If significant, they severely hindered or completely prevented hockey development and usage. Observation Hockey was slightly different. After awakening, it primarily functioned as an extension of the user's 5 senses. Even with significant spiritual flaws, as long as the user's spirit wasn't completely broken, Observation Hockey could still be used. Ace demonstrated this in the original story when searching for the bounty hunter Scorpion, and also during his fight with Blackbeard. Blackbeard commented Ace hadn't been hit in a long time. Ace operated in the new world where Armament Hockey was common, avoiding hits relied on his decent Observation Hockey, allowing him to predict attacks and elementize his body. Logia Intangibility, just before impact, letting Hockey-infused attacks pass through harmlessly. Looking at the Flare Fruit trait, Rowan's eyes lit up again. Flare Fruit, Pale Gold, Unawakened, Flame Human. Can transform entire body into flames, using powerful flame attacks, Pale Gold. Upon awakening, unleashes the full power of the Flare Fruit, Apex Gold. Apex Gold. A fully awakened Flare Fruit possessed power equivalent to an Apex Gold trait. At minimum, capable of contending with an Admiral-level gatekeeper like Zephyr in his prime. Just as Rowan suspected, this fruit, while perhaps less versatile than the Rumble fruit, absolutely belonged in the T1, Tier 1, category of devil fruits. Fire, since ancient times, alongside lightning, was regarded by humanity as a natural disaster, even worshipped as divine power. Though the Flare fruit was sometimes mocked in the New World because many powerful individuals could utilize fire-based attacks. That very fact highlighted fire's inherent power. Both Big Mom, with Prometheus, and Kaido, using Flame Bagua as his strongest move, utilized fire extensively. Its destructive potential was undeniable. The Flare fruit's power was easily comparable to Aokiji's Ice fruit, perhaps even surpassing it in raw destructive force. A truly powerful devil fruit. Its main weakness was being inherently inferior to Akanu's Magma fruit. But that was because Magma was a T0, Tier 0, fruit. stated in texts to possess the highest offensive power among all devil fruits. Okanu's combat record demonstrated its terrifying might. Even without infused conquerors, its destructive force seemed to exceed even that, maiming or killing anyone hit by it. Rowan now fully understood why magma countered flare. The flare fruit was based on natural fire, like forest fires, temp 800 to 1300 degrees Celsius, not chemical combustion. Magma temperature exceeded 1400 degrees Celsius. Combined with magma's properties, it completely smothered natural flames, making it the superior fruit. Currently, Ace's entire combat strength relied on this fruit. Pushed to its limit, using Great Flame Commandment, Flame Emperor, Ace could exert 4 Emperor's commander-level power, deep gold. But what truly made Rowan's pupils constrict wasn't Ace's own traits. It was detected target linked by life and death bond to crew captain, Monkey D. Luffy. Can load target's traits via Monkey D. Luffy connection. Loadable traits, Observation Hockey, Pale Gold, Flare Fruit, Pale Gold, Great Flame Commandment, Flame Emperor, Deep Gold. Due to life and death bond, equipping will be instantaneous upon selection. He could load Ace's traits. Life and death bond. Even without joining the Straw Hat crew, if someone shared such a bond with a crew member, their traits could be loaded instantly. Just like Rowan instantly equipped Nami's traits. Luffy's life and death bonds naturally extended to Ace and Sabo. Rowan didn't hesitate. He immediately selected Load. Observation Hockey, Pale Gold, loaded. Observation Hockey Tier Advanced. Upgraded to Observation Hockey, Pale Gold. Flare Fruit, Pale Gold, loaded. Great Flame Commandment, Flame Emperor, Deep Gold, loaded. Physique energy contained within Flare Fruit, Pale Gold, automatically digested. Superhuman Demonic Physique, Pale Gold, enhanced. Born of the Sea, Apex Gold, activated. Armament Hockey, Pale Gold, enhanced. A cascade of notifications flooded Rowan's vision, making it impossible for him to suppress his grin. The Flare Fruit trait, being Strength type, naturally included Ace's physical energy. Ace's physique was considerable, yielding 5 Pale Gold upgrade materials for Rowan. Physique energy, at Pale Gold tier and above, related more to stamina reserves. Fuel for Hockey, Devil Fruits. Then raw strength. Though giants like Dory, Brogy possessed immense raw strength due to their race, their overdrafted state meant their actual physique energy contribution was less than Ace's. After absorbing Ace's physical energy, Rowan's superhuman demonic physique and armament Hockey were now only 1 Pale Gold material away from reaching the Deep Gold tier. Plus, he gained the T1 Flare Fruit. Rowan's strength increased massively. And Rowan already possessed abilities that synergized perfectly with the Flare Fruit. New fusion technique trait, Flame Burst, Deep Gold, Bomb Fruit ability detonates flames, unleashing terrifyingly amplified explosive power. Another ultimate technique trait appeared. The Bomb Fruit could detonate the Flare Fruit's flames, maximizing their explosive potential. And this was a standard ability, not requiring immense concentration. Meaning, even relying solely on Devil Fruit powers in his base state, Rowan now possessed 4 Emperor's commander-level combat strength. Furthermore, another ability synergized with fire, new fusion technique trait, Flame Haze, Deep Gold, combines Smoke and Flare Fruit abilities. Enhances flame power while simultaneously causing suffocation to enemies caught within the attack. Also a standard usability. And one final ultimate technique, new ultimate technique trait, Great Flame Commandment, Flame Emperor, Explosion, Smoke, Deep Gold, infuses Bomb and Smoke fruit powers into Flame Emperor, unleashing the combined might of all 3 devil fruits. This was now Rowan's strongest devil fruit-based ultimate attack. Its power absolutely surpassed Ace's standard Flame Emperor by a significant margin. And this was just his devil fruit abilities. Rowan still possessed Hockey. Rowan had officially ascended to the 4 Emperor's commander combat tier. And not just barely scraping by. Chapter 83, Bonus, Explosive Abilities. Giant's Horror. His strength unexpectedly amplified, Rowan felt fantastic. He turned his gaze towards the Admiral candidate, Giant. Looking at her now, the earlier seriousness in Rowan's eyes vanished, replaced by a flickering crimson-black intensity. Admiral candidates, while a tier above standard Marine Headquarters Vice Admirals, were ultimately not in the same league as true admirals. An Admiral candidate was just that. A candidate being groomed for potential future promotion. At the end of the day, their strength was still insufficient. Otherwise, after the summit war in the original story, the world government wouldn't have needed the world military draft to appoint Fujitora and Green Bull. 2 individuals with no prior Marine history. As admirals. The gap between Apex Gold, minimum admiral threshold, and Deep Gold, Admiral candidate, 4 Emperor's commander threshold. Though seemingly just one sub-tier, represented a massive difference in actual power. Consider a peak Emperor unleashing a full power-infused Conqueror's Haki strike. A deep gold-level fighter often couldn't even withstand a single blow. The saying, "Below Emperors and Admirals, all are ants," wasn't mere hyperbole. Now, significantly empowered, relying on his synergistic devil fruit abilities. Unless his opponent was Admiral level or higher, Rowan feared no one. Although Rowan's Haki hadn't yet reached Giant's deep gold level, sufficiently powerful devil fruit abilities could shatter even strong Haki users' defenses, even without Haki infusion. Sky Sovereign Rowan? Ace, having heard Giant's earlier address, now looked intently at Rowan. Ace was certainly familiar with the name Sky Sovereign Rowan. It had echoed like thunder across the seas recently. The user of Conqueror's Haki, claiming the title Sky Sovereign. An incredibly dazzling super rookie pirate. The last rookie pirate to cause such a stir was Ace himself, back before he joined the Whitebeard Pirates. However, because Ace had suppressed his own Conqueror's Haki due to self-loathing, this man's current fame arguably surpassed Ace's initial renown. Especially after clashing with Mihawk in the East Blue. Even the New World now knew his name. More importantly, this man was his little brother Luffy's comrade. Ace felt immense curiosity about him. But the moment Ace looked properly at Rowan, his pupils instantly constricted. Strong. Especially the crimson-black light flickering within his eyes. It sent a shiver down Ace's spine. Though suppressed, Ace was intimately familiar with the power. Conqueror's Haki. And remarkably strong Haki at that. Even dormant, not fully unleashed, Ace felt a palpable pressure emanating from him. This level of presence was far beyond what any mere rookie pirate should possess. No wonder he garnered such attention. Marine headquarters had even dispatched an admiral candidate specifically for him. Ace's expression turned serious, then broke into a grin. "Luffy, you little rascal. Really found yourself an incredible comrade." Meanwhile, Giant's expression was extremely grave. Ace merely felt pressure from the latent Conqueror's Haki in Rowan's eyes. But Giant felt Rowan's Haki directed squarely at her. Incredibly strong Haki. Possessing Conqueror's Haki of this magnitude implied his armament and observation Haki must also be formidable. This man had displayed impressive armament Haki when defeating Smoker. But now, it seemed clear. He hadn't even used a fraction of his true strength back then. Giant cursed inwardly. Marine headquarters' assessment of this man's strength was grossly inaccurate. For someone possessing the disposition of a king, acting so brazenly, even revealing the ability to steal devil fruits, Marine headquarters naturally had to evaluate his threat level. Based on his demonstrated combat prowess, even factoring in the stolen smoke fruit, his strength shouldn't have reached Vice Admiral level yet. Sending her, an Admiral candidate, was already considered taking him extremely seriously. She was, after all, among the strongest forces a world government could deploy below the 3 admirals themselves. Even Sengoku had been confident his mission, to ascertain the truth of Rowan's abilities, would succeed smoothly under her command. But now, before even clashing, just sensing the intensity of Rowan's Conqueror's Haki made Giant feel this would be incredibly difficult. Haki like this was impossible for a rookie just entering the Grand Line. Even in the New World, only established powerhouses possessed such presence. And worse, Fire Fist Ace of the Whitebeard Pirates was here too. And apparently, Ace had an unusually close relationship with Straw Hat Luffy. Fire Fist Ace. Do you intend to directly confront Marine headquarters? My mission target is Sky Sovereign Rowan. Giant attempted to probe, testing the waters. Luffy is my little brother. Target him, or his comrades. And I won't just stand by. Ace retorted firmly, giving no ground. Hearing this, Giant's expression shifted again. Not out of fear. As an admiral candidate, even sensing Rowan's immense Haki, Giant remained confident in her own abilities. The real issue was Whitebeard. Without authorization, she couldn't recklessly fight Ace. But her mission, to uncover the truth about Rowan's abilities, had to be completed. Giant wanted to curse again. She knew Straw Hat Luffy was Garp's grandson. She also knew Fleet Admiral Sengoku sent her specifically for this mission, essentially telling her to go easy, to give Garp face. Her orders were, under the premise of showing Garp face, determine the truth of Rowan's abilities. If they were too troublesome, decide whether to arrest him based on discretion. If his abilities were extremely dangerous, posing a major threat to the Marines or world government, arrest him immediately, but let Straw Hat go. That was her mission brief. But now, Fire Fist Ace turned out to be Straw Hat's brother? Giant suddenly recalled something. Years ago, Fleet Admiral Sengoku had chewed out Vice Admiral Garp for a long time because one of Garp's adopted grandsons was causing major trouble on the seas. So that was Fire Fist Ace. Fire Fist Ace. Backed not only by Whitebeard but also connected to Garp. This mission's difficulty level just skyrocketed. Jian was about to suggest withdrawing temporarily to report the situation to Sengoku, when the situation took another unexpected turn. You came all this way for me. Did you really think I'd let you leave empty-handed? Rowan asked, the crimson black light in his eyes flaring violently. Having just gained a massive power boost, Rowan was itching for a fight. Besides, his bounty still wasn't high enough. Rowan looked at Jian, his conqueror's haki practically boiling. Ace is Luffy's brother, he's a guest of our crew. It wouldn't be right to let our guest do the fighting. Rowan added, glancing towards Ace with a calm smile. Ace met Rowan's gaze, paused for a moment, then dispersed the flames engulfing his body and grinned back. Well then, I look forward to seeing your strength, Sky Sovereign Rowan. Just call me Rowan. Luffy's brother is our friend. Rowan replied heartily, feeling immense goodwill towards Ace after benefiting so much from him. Alright then, Rowan. Ace laughed back easily. He enjoyed making friends with men like this. You guys continue stocking supplies. As for you lot, follow me. Rowan first called out, instructing the others, hidden nearby, to continue their preparations, then turned back towards Jian and the remaining Marines. This was Vivi's country. A battle between 4 Emperor's commander-level fighters could easily destroy the city. Rowan naturally preferred the uninhabited desert outside town. Just like the rumors say. An arrogant man. Jian commented coolly, her expression hardening. With her observation haki, she had naturally detected Nami and the others nearby. She understood Rowan was telling his crew to prepare for desert travel. This blatant disregard for her presence. Treating her as if she wasn't even a threat. As an admiral candidate, being looked down upon like this was a first. Even the second-in-commands of Emperor crews wouldn't show her disrespect. Nevertheless, Jian led her Marines out of the city. Alabasta was, after all, a world government-affiliated kingdom. If even a pirate didn't want to damage the city, the Marines certainly wouldn't object. Outside Nanohana, in the desert. Zoro, you came too. Luffy grinned, seeing Zoro arrive. Yeah. Gotta watch a fight like this. That woman. She's a swordsman, right? Zoro asked, his predatory gaze fixed intently on Jian. Someone Rowan called a big name in the Navy. And a swordsman at that? There's no way Zoro would miss watching such a fight. Sky Sovereign Rowan. How did you steal Captain Smoker's smoke fruit ability? Jian asked directly, her hand resting on the hilt of her famed sword, Konpira. Her observation haki locked onto Rowan completely, trying to discern the truth from his answer and emotional fluctuations. Oh? Marine headquarters sent you to figure out the truth about my abilities. Rowan chuckled, looking at Jian. Jian wasn't surprised, her objective wasn't exactly subtle. Since you're so eager to know, watch carefully with your own eyes. Rowan replied. But before Jian could respond, Rowan's expression shifted into a supremely confident grin. But first, let's clear out the fodder. Boom. The tyrannical crimson black light in Rowan's eyes seemed to solidify, exploding outwards. Crimson black lightning crackled violently through the air. Thump. 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 Except for Jian, Tashigi, and Hina, all the other Marines instantly went white-eyed, collapsed unconscious, and hit the ground hard. Conqueror's haki. Field cleared. Conqueror's haki. Trying to shake my resolve before we even fight? Jian's expression changed. As expected. Incredibly strong haki. The Marines she brought included a rear admiral. Yet even he couldn't withstand this man's haki blast, fainting instantly. As an admiral candidate, Jian knew about Conqueror's haki, even if she didn't possess it herself. Before mastering infusion, it primarily functioned as a willpower-based attack. While it couldn't directly harm opponents of equal strength, the shockwave could disrupt their mental state, hindering their performance. Spiritual strength was directly linked to haki intensity. What a strong haki. Ace's expression turned serious as well. Though he sensed it earlier, feeling its full force unleashed truly revealed how overwhelmingly powerful this man was. Conqueror's haki. Is this man looking down on Hina? Hina scowled, looking at the unconscious rear admiral beside her. Even the rear admiral couldn't endure the blast, yet she remained conscious. Clearly, the man had intentionally excluded her. At the same time, Hina felt utterly shocked. A new rookie pirate. Yet even a Marine headquarters rear admiral couldn't remain conscious before him? Hina stared intently at Rowan. Beside her, Tashigi gripped Shigur tightly, biting her lip hard. After returning to headquarters, Tashigi, having encountered Rowan, was brought along by Jian to Alabasta. During her time at headquarters and alongside Vice Admiral Jian, Tashigi learned much more about the wider world, including the true significance of Conqueror's Haki. But she never imagined. Just with Haki alone, without even lifting a finger, Rowan could incapacitate even an headquarters rear admiral. Compared to Rowan, she was incredibly weak. Unacceptable. I have to get stronger. Strong enough to stand before Rowan as an equal. Tashigi bit her lip, staring fiercely at Rowan. The next moment, something happened that made Jian's, and even Ace's, expressions change dramatically. You wanted to know the truth about my abilities so badly? Then watch. Very closely. Rowan declared, laughing loudly. Whoosh. Terrifying flames erupted violently, engulfing Rowan completely. He transformed into a terrifying figure of pure fire. The intense heat warped the air in the already scorching desert. Flare fruit? Jian gasped, her face instantly paling. This ability. How could she not recognize it? Even among Logias, it was considered one of the top-tier powers, easily rivaling Aokiji's ice fruit. But this power was famously wielded by Portga's Ace. It was the ability that earned him the moniker Fire Fist Ace. Jian instinctively looked towards Ace. And saw Ace himself staring, utterly dumbfounded. FL flare fruit? Ace stared wide-eyed, completely astonished. He subconsciously activated his own ability. Whoosh. Flames flickered around him. Relieved his power was still there, Ace felt even more horrified looking back at Rowan. What is going on? There shouldn't be two identical devil fruits in existence at the same time. Yet the power this man wielded was undeniably the flare fruit. And the intensity felt even stronger than his own. Ace sensed the atmospheric temperature rising sharply. The flames Rowan controlled felt hotter than his own. The flare fruit's temperature ranged from 800–1300 degrees C. Only upon awakening could its full power be released. Ace could currently control flames around 1000 degrees Celsius. But as the fruit's user, Ace could clearly sense Rowan's flames were superior. SUG. Rowan's got a new devil fruit ability? Luffy yelled excitedly. New ability? Ace stared blankly at Luffy. What does he mean, new ability? Everyone knows an ability user can only have one power. That's right. What happened? What about the smoke fruit ability you stole from Captain Smoker? Jian demanded, finally realizing the crucial point amidst her shock. She had been so stunned by the sudden appearance of the flare fruit she momentarily forgot. Sky Sovereign Rowan had stolen Smoker's smoke fruit back in Logtown and demonstrably used its power on the execution platform. He was undoubtedly the user of the smoke fruit then, but now he was suddenly using Fire Fist Ace's flare fruit ability? Could it be? A horrifying suspicion began to form in Jian's mind. Her forehead broke out in fine beads of cold sweat. The smoke fruit, you say? Rowan grinned. Whoosh. One half of Rowan's body remained engulfed in flames, while the other half, under the disbelieving gazes of Jian, Hina, and Ace, dissolved into swirling smoke. Smoke fruit. Jian cried out in horror. This man possessed the abilities of two Logia devil fruits. And somehow, they existed within him without conflict. Looking at Rowan. Half flame, half smoke. Jian felt utterly terrified. How was such a thing possible? Are you sure? It's only two devil fruit abilities. Rowan asked, his voice laced with amusement. Jian's eyes widened further in horrified realization. Flame burst. Whoosh. Terrifying flames erupted, shooting towards Jian. The next moment. Boom. The flames exploded violently. Chapter 84, Facing the encroaching searing flames, Jian instantly drew her famed sword, Kanpira, from its sheath. Dense armament Haki immediately coated the blade. Jian intended to show this arrogant young man the true vastness of the sea with her superior Haki. But the next moment, the flames reaching Jian suddenly exploded. Boom. Fire. Regarded by humans since time immemorial as a natural disaster. And within a true fire catastrophe, the most terrifying aspect wasn't the heat itself, but the resulting explosion. The force generated by the explosion far surpassed the burning potential of the flames alone. And now, the flames detonated from within, from the very core of each flicker. The terrifying energy within the flames, amplified by the bomb fruit's power, erupted instantly at a single point. The exploding flames formed a massive, cracking fireball, with Jian caught directly at its center. The sheer force blasted the desert sands beneath her feet, the intense heat near the core actually melting the sand into slag. What is that? Ace stared, utterly dumbfounded. The flames had exploded. His own flare abilities could cause explosions, certainly, but only by igniting combustible materials. Rowan's flames, however, had detonated themselves. It was as if someone had planted high explosives deep within every strand of fire and then detonated them simultaneously. The resulting destructive power left even Ace, the flare fruit user, completely speechless. Vice Admiral Jayan, Hina and Tashigi cried out in alarm, seeing the terrifying spectacle unleashed by Rowan's seemingly casual attack. Clang. Jayan, however, was an admiral candidate. Her armament hockey mastery and swordsmanship ranked among the best on the seas. Her Konpira lashed out, sending several flying slashes tearing through the exploding fireball, creating temporary gaps. Damn it. Though she weathered the attack, Jayan wasn't unscathed. She had expected her superior armament hockey to easily slice through mere flare flames. She hadn't anticipated the flames detonating instantly upon contact. The explosion was terrifyingly powerful, especially at point-blank range. Even though her observation hockey had warned her of the danger fractions of a second beforehand, allowing her to quickly coat her body in defensive armament hockey. Some parts of her skin were still burned. The explosion's speed was too instantaneous, even her predictive hockey only gave her a moment's warning, not enough time for her armament hockey coverage to react faster than the internal detonation. Feeling the stinging heat on her skin, Jayan's expression turned incredibly grim. The minor injuries weren't the issue, they wouldn't significantly impact her combat ability. The real problem was, your flare fruit ability contains another power? Jayan demanded, her face dark. Her observation hockey had detected it the instant the flames exploded. There was more than just the flare fruit's power contained within. The power of explosion. Could it be the Parimsha-type bomb fruit? Jayan had studied the devil fruit encyclopedia. Combining that knowledge with Rowan's earlier taunt. Are you sure it's only 2 devil fruit abilities? The answer became terrifyingly clear. Looking at Rowan, sheer horror began to dawn in Jayan's eyes. This man possessed more than just 2 devil fruit abilities. Impressive perception, for an admiral candidate. Rowan acknowledged with an appreciative nod. Hearing the confirmation brought Jayan no comfort whatsoever. Instead, shock and fury warred within her. It was common knowledge across the seas. A person could only eat 1 devil fruit. Devil fruits were incredibly powerful. Jayan knew firsthand just how potent a top-tier fruit could be. Why were the current 3 marine admirals, Okainu, Aokiji, Kizaru, considered the strongest trio in history? Because they wielded 3 incredibly powerful Logia devil fruits. These fruits allowed them, even without Conqueror's hockey, to fight head-on against emperors possessing infused Conquerors. But now, someone existed who could wield multiple devil fruit abilities. At that moment, one part of her mission objective clicked into place. Understanding why a man of Rowan's caliber would bother with the weak smoke fruit. The answer was horrifyingly simple, because he could possess multiple devil fruits. And looking at him now, how many could he possess? It was completely unknown. What if he could possess an infinite number? The thought was too horrifying. Jayan felt her insides tremble. Devil fruits were powerful, yes, but no ability was perfect, each had strengths and weaknesses. Zones granted incredible physique and stamina but excelled primarily in close combat and carried the risk of losing control upon awakening. Primshas offered bizarre and tricky abilities but generally lacked the raw physical power of zones or the destructive force of Logias, with rare exceptions like the tremor fruit. Logias granted control over natural elements, like forces of nature, but were vulnerable to specific elemental counters and notoriously difficult to awaken. Fully aligning one's will with a natural element was difficult for humans. Furthermore, Logias, being the most unnatural existence, incurred the deepest curse from the sea, making hockey development more difficult for their users due to the inherent reliance, desire conflict. This might also explain why even Vegapunk could artificially replicate zones and Parimsha abilities but struggled with Logias. Pros and cons. That was the nature of devil fruits. But what if different types of devil fruits were combined within one person? Possessing the terrifying physique and stamina of a zone, the catastrophic elemental attacks of various Logias, and the bizarre, unpredictable powers of Parimshas. Furthermore, combining different fruits could potentially mitigate weaknesses and amplify strengths. The power boost from such synergy. Jayan had just experienced it firsthand. Her own powerful hockey had struggled to withstand that combined attack. Looking at the man before her, even Jayan, with her resolute will, felt utterly horrified. Then, Jayan grit her teeth. Must capture him immediately. This man posed an immense future threat to the Marines' justice. Stay right there. Sky Sovereign Rowan. Jayan roared, abandoning ranged attacks and charging forward. She wouldn't waste time probing, she had to engage in close quarters combat immediately. Konpira, coated in thick armament hockey, slashed directly towards Rowan. Flame haze. Rowan countered, swinging both arms. Searing flames mixed with dense smoke erupted, instantly enveloping Giant. Kilo. Flame haze jet. Seeing Giant trying to close the distance, Rowan smiled. Whoosh. Rowan's weight instantly dropped to 1 kilogram. Propelled by the combined force of fire and smoke eruption, he shot upwards at incredible speed. His own haki wasn't as strong as Giant's, and Giant was a great swordsman. Powerful swordsmen were deadly in close combat, especially combined with strong haki. But Rowan was a devil fruit user. Why would he engage her in close quarters? Giant just needed to stay down there and take the hits. The flame haze spread rapidly towards Giant. Moonwalk. Seeing Rowan fly upwards, Giant didn't panic. She immediately used the 6 powers technique, Moonwalk, kicking off the air itself to pursue Rowan skyward. But very quickly, Giant's expression changed again. Rowan's flight speed was too fast. This wasn't the speed a normal Logia user should possess. Logia fruits like Flare, Smoke, or Glint allowed temporary levitation or gliding through elemental propulsion. But they didn't grant true flight capability. Maintaining altitude required significant stamina, and the flight speed wasn't typically very high. Yet Rowan's current speed far exceeded her expectations. Her moonwalk couldn't catch him. She was forced into a purely defensive position, unable to retaliate against his devil fruit attacks. Worse still, the flames he used now contained the suffocating properties of the smoke fruit. She had to maintain constant haki coverage over her entire body to prevent the smoke from seeping in and choking her. This constant defensive haki usage was incredibly draining. Dealing with one devil fruit ability was tricky enough, multiple synergistic abilities were a nightmare. Flame burst. Boom. The flames surrounding Giant exploded again, making her haki defenses tremble violently. The flame haze immediately surged towards the weakened points, trying to breach her defenses and suffocate her. Bastard! Giant cursed furiously. Looking up at Rowan, completely unreachable far above, she swung Konpira violently. Whoosh! A powerful flying slash shot upwards. But the next moment, Rowan simply elementized into smoke, letting the slash pass harmlessly through him. Giant's eye twitched in frustration. This was exactly why she wanted close combat. Against Logia users, unless their observation haki was poor, flying slashes were easily dodged by elementizing just before impact. Plus, such large-scale ranged attacks consumed more stamina, and infusing haki across their wide area was even more draining. A one-time expenditure. Once the haki-infused slash left the blade, the haki was spent. Meanwhile, she had to constantly maintain her defensive haki. The stamina drain was immense. Your body feels strange, similar to Golden Lion's float fruit. No. Not as strong. You can only control yourself. Is that the Parimsha kilo fruit? Giant deduced grimly, her face pale. Applause is warranted. Rowan chuckled from above. Bastard. That makes 4 devil fruit abilities. Giant felt utterly grim. Completely forced onto the defensive, unable to retaliate. It was infuriatingly humiliating. Rowan, while continuously attacking Giant, was also gauging his own stamina consumption. Stamina was the foundation for all power. Devil fruits and haki alike. Wielding multiple devil fruits simultaneously was incredibly powerful, forcing even an admiral candidate like Giant onto the defensive. But likewise, using multiple fruits meant bearing the stamina cost of each. Giant's defensive haki was draining her rapidly, but Rowan, using 4 fruits at once, was also consuming stamina at an alarming rate. The battle had devolved into a war of attrition. Although Giant looked much worse off, and Rowan held the absolute initiative, Giant's base physique energy, stamina, likely surpassed Rowan's current level. Dragging this out was pointless. Unless Rowan used his ultimate technique to force a decisive, potentially fatal, conclusion. But for Rowan, still in his rapid growth phase, such a gamble wasn't worth it. Alright, let's end this. Rowan stated calmly, reforming into a column of flame and descending beside Ace and Luffy. His objective was achieved, further entanglement with Giant served no purpose. Trying to leave? Giant roared, eyes blazing with fury. Being forced onto the defensive like this, her haki defenses nearly breached multiple times. Giant hadn't experienced such humiliation in years. Even clay figures have tempers, let alone an admiral candidate like her. Want to fight to the death? With my Logia abilities. How many of your subordinates do you think would survive? Rowan countered coldly. His current priority was Crocodile's fortune. But if someone insisted on provoking him, Rowan wouldn't back down. With his strongest techniques, even if Giant survived, the rest of her marines would be annihilated. You! Despicable! Giant spat furiously. I am a pirate. Rowan laughed. Marines. Leave this place quickly. Don't bother me here. You can't stop me anyway, can you? Rowan's smile faded, his voice turning cold. Why did Round dare expose so much of his power now? Because he knew the internal structure of the Marines well. The only individuals Rowan currently couldn't defeat were Garp, Sengoku, and the three admirals. But figures of their stature wouldn't easily mobilize just for him. Garp and Sengoku were obvious. One a Marine hero, and Luffy's grandfather, the other the fleet admiral anchored at headquarters. Of the three admirals, one had to guard Mary Ejos, one had to remain at headquarters. The Navy constantly faced threats from the four emperors in the New World, their top assets couldn't be deployed carelessly. The remaining admiral served as a mobile force. Currently Aokiji. But Aokiji practiced lazy justice. In the original story, he only confronted the Straw Hats after learning about Robin's whereabouts. Plus, he was Garp's former student and ultimately let Luffy's crew go. Round didn't need to worry about an admiral-level threat anytime soon. Marine headquarters. Rowan knew their full intelligence capabilities. But their intel assessment on him was completely wrong. They had no idea he was still in a phase of rapid, explosive growth. After dealing with Crocodile, next was Skypia. Acquire the Rumble fruit. By then, even an admiral wouldn't be able to easily capture him. That's why Rowan deliberately showcased his multiple devil fruit abilities now. To further inflate his bounty and reputation. So, stop monitoring me. Otherwise, I'll show you the true power of these devil fruits. When truly fused together, Rowan finished calmly. All his current actions were aimed at securing Crocodile's fortune. Giant's continued interference would disrupt his plans. This was Rowan's warning to her. Meanwhile, Nami and the others had finished gathering the necessary supplies. Rowan rejoined Luffy and the crew, leaving only Giant standing alone in the desert, her face incredibly grim. She truly had no way to stop Rowan now, especially with Fire Fist Ace nearby. Buru buru buru. Giant stood in silence for a long time, then slowly took out her transponder snail. Click. The call connected. Fleet Admiral. I have failed. Giant reported, her voice filled with bitterness. What she said next sent shockwaves of fury and disbelief through Marine headquarters. Chapter 85, Marine headquarters. Fleet Admiral's office. What did you say? Hearing Vice Admiral Giant's report through the transponder snail, Fleet Admiral Sengoku, the highest authority in the Navy, stared wide-eyed. He had considered it a sure thing. One of their strongest assets below the three admirals, Admiral Candidate Pink Rabbit. Defeated? What kind of sick joke was this? That was Giant. She could stand against the top commanders of Emperor crews in the New World. Her mission was simply to ascertain the abilities of a rookie pirate. Even if that rookie possessed Conqueror's Haki, success should have been guaranteed. Yet now, barely any time had passed, and Giant was reporting mission failure? What exactly happened? Sengoku demanded gravely, regaining his composure. It's like this. Giant sighed, then recounted the events that had just transpired. Sengoku's expression shifted from disbelief to gravity, then finally to utter astonishment. You're saying Sky Sovereign Round displayed Fire Fist Ace's Flare fruit ability? And simultaneously possesses Smoker's Smoke fruit, plus the Perimsha Bomb and Kilo fruits? Sengoku genuinely wondered if lack of sleep was causing auditory hallucinations. But after multiple confirmations with Giant, Sengoku finally accepted the unbelievable news. How? Is this even possible? Sengoku's usual stoic expression cracked. This operation was under his direct command. The assessment of Rowan's strength was his own calculation. Using his human fruit model, Great Buddha Devil Fruit ability, granting him Buddha-like wisdom, combined with all available marine intelligence on Rowan. He had run complete simulations. His calculations concluded the man's current strength ceiling shouldn't exceed that of an average Marine headquarters vice admiral. Dispatching Giant was already showing extreme caution, perhaps even overestimating the threat. Yet Giant was completely overwhelmed. Did this mean Sky Sovereign Rowan, at his young age, already possessed strength on par with an admiral candidate? Combined with his Conqueror's Haki, his future potential was practically guaranteed admiral level. Possibly even reaching the level of those four. The four emperors. The superpowers the entire Marine headquarters had to treat with utmost seriousness. True rulers of the sea. Fine beads of sweat appeared on Sengoku's forehead. He rapidly engaged his Buddha-like wisdom, running calculations at immense speed. The results made even Sengoku feel a chill. This man's future potential might exceed everyone's imagination. What baffled Sengoku even more was Giant's other point. Are you certain Sky Sovereign Rowan used the Flare fruit ability? Not some other mythical zone with flame powers. Sengoku pressed, continuing his calculations while seeking more intel. I am certain. He elementized directly into fire. Besides the Logia Flare fruit, what other ability could do that? Jian herself found it hard to believe, but she had witnessed it firsthand. Damn it, what is going on? Using the Buddha's wisdom placed immense strain even on Sengoku. This often caused his infamous loss of composure. But right now, even with heightened cognitive abilities, Sengoku couldn't decipher the truth behind Rowan's powers. Possessing multiple devil fruits was incredible, yes, but Sengoku, as Fleet Admiral, knew many secrets of the sea. He knew certain bloodlines could potentially achieve this. And the ability to steal devil fruits did exist. The dark fruit, known as the most evil ability in history, could do it. Before sending Jian, Sengoku's Buddha wisdom had already calculated this possibility. Sky Sovereign Rowan might possess the dark fruit and a special bloodline allowing multiple fruits, explaining why he took Smoker's smoke fruit. As for Smoker losing all physical strength after the fruit was stolen, Sengoku's repeated calculations lean towards it being a severe side effect of having a devil fruit forcibly removed. Smoker had already been sent to the world government's chief scientist, Vegapunk. Vegapunk, deeply interested in devil fruit research, was eager to study such a unique case. A Logia user stripped of their fruit and all power. Vegapunk could already artificially create zone fruits and replicate Paramsha abilities through special means, but Logias, the most unnatural existence, most hated by the sea, remained a mystery. Understanding why Smoker lost all strength required Vegapunk's research. Based on available intel, Sengoku's most probable calculation was that Rowan possessed the dark fruit. But now, Jian's report contradicted this. Rowan seemingly didn't display dark abilities, though hiding them was possible. The real wrench in Sengoku's calculations was the flare fruit. Jian confirmed Fire Fist Haze still possessed his ability. This was utterly unprecedented. 2 identical devil fruits existing simultaneously? How? The more Sengoku calculated, the deeper into a dead end he fell, his expression twisting uncontrollably. This, of course, was exactly why Rowan dared to display his powers so openly. After confirming with the system that Sengoku's fruit granted Buddha-like wisdom, Rowan began his gambit. First, the only time Rowan demonstrably stole power in front of the Navy was from Smoker. What happened to someone after losing a devil fruit, especially a Logia, without dying? Even Sengoku couldn't know for sure. That's why Rowan let Smoker return to headquarters with that specific, misleading, information. He also deliberately refrained from plundering traits from other Marines. Like the Rear Admiral during the clash with Jian. The most perfect lies aren't complete fabrications, but truths twisted or incomplete, leading far from the actual reality. This was the first step in confusing Sengoku's calculations. Next, displaying the flare fruit ability before Jian. While stealing fruits and possessing multiple fruits had precedence, however rare. 2 identical fruits existing simultaneously? That had never happened. And Ace still possessing his flare power. Getting this intel relayed to Sengoku via Jian further prevented Sengoku's Buddha wisdom from deducing the truth about Rowan's plunder ability. Rowan had never revealed the equipping aspect of his power. Wisdom has its drawbacks, feed it large amounts of seemingly correct but fundamentally flawed information, and it leads down a rabbit hole. Right now, Sengoku the Buddha, renowned as the strategist, was trapped in the dead end Rowan had carefully constructed. Rowan didn't need Sengoku confused for long. Just long enough. Until Rowan truly rose to power. By then, even if Sengoku figured out the truth, what could he do? As Rowan thought before. Sometimes, revealed intel isn't a weakness. It's misdirection and deterrence. Completely incomprehensible. Damn it. Sengoku calculated endlessly, but every conclusion contradicted itself. He couldn't grasp the true nature of this man's abilities. What are your orders, Fleet Admiral? Sky Sovereign Rowan warned that if we continue to pursue him, he will unleash his Logia powers indiscriminately. Jian's voice came through the transponder snail. Damn it. Sengoku slammed his fist on the desk again. Logia powers. That was the trouble. Wide area, disaster-level attacks. While top-tier fighters could defend with strong hockey, such attacks were lethal even to Marine Headquarters Rear Admirals, let alone lower-ranks or average soldiers. And chasing a single pirate required more than just one strong individual. You needed ships, search parties. The sea was vast. Capturing a powerful pirate wasn't just about strength. Forget Garp chasing Roger, even Tsuru pursuing Doflamingo took immense effort and often failed. Capturing strong pirates often took years. The current era wasn't like the past. You couldn't just assign one powerhouse like Garp to relentlessly pursue a single target like Roger anymore. The world government had established the balance of the 3 great powers. That balance couldn't be easily broken. The 3 admirals couldn't leave their posts without special circumstances, constantly needing to monitor the 4 emperors in the new world. The current pirate landscape was entirely different. Why were the 4 emperors called emperors? Roger and his contemporaries were immensely powerful but lacked that title. Because today's emperors weren't just strong individuals, they commanded vast territories and forces in the New World. Countless countries and pirate crews swore allegiance to them. Declaring war on an emperor wasn't just fighting a crew, it was full-scale warfare. Under these circumstances, how could Marine headquarters spare an admiral for a potentially years-long chase across the globe? Impossible. The risk of an emperor making a move while an admiral was absent was too great. Especially with Kaido the war maniac, and Shanks, whom Sengoku feared most. This was why Rowan acted so fearlessly. He had nothing to lose, while the Navy, being a vast organization, was bound by the need for balance. Just as Rowan told Giant, "You Marines can't stop me now." Not because the Navy lacked the power to defeat him eventually, but because under the current circumstances, with his true abilities obscured by misinformation, Marine headquarters couldn't possibly commit an admiral-level asset to hunt him down globally. They likely wouldn't even get approval from the world government, who prioritized maintaining the balance above all. The balance of the three great powers. Wasn't it partly designed by the world government to keep the Navy itself in check? Everything was proceeding according to Rowan's plan. With the Navy's interference neutralized, Rowan could focus entirely on plundering Crocodile's warlord fortune. Remain in Alabasta for now. Await further orders. Sengoku finally instructed after long deliberation. He knew that since Rowan displayed such strength, Marine headquarters couldn't defeat him without deploying an admiral. Continuing to have Giant pursue Rowan was pointless, even potentially disastrous. Judging by the man's actions, he was utterly ruthless. Pushing him too far could lead to unforeseen consequences. If Giant, an admiral candidate, was severely injured or killed, the loss to the Navy would be immense. They only had two admiral candidates, they were precious assets. With Rowan issuing a clear warning, the best course now was to increase his bounty, amplify his notoriety. Let other pirates deal with him. Perhaps even let him clash with the emperors in the New World. That served the Navy's interests best. But Sengoku didn't recall Giant yet because his Buddha wisdom still felt something was wrong, though he couldn't pinpoint what. Having Giant remain in Alabasta provided an admiral candidate level presence to stabilize the situation if something major occurred. After hanging up the transponder snail, Sengoku silently stood up and stormed towards another office. Bang! He kicked the door open violently. Sengoku? Come to witness me break the rice cracker reading record? Garp looked up from his snack, laughing loudly. You old bastard. Still have the nerve to eat? I tease your damn family again. Causing all this trouble. Sengoku completely lost control, snatching the bag of rice crackers from Garp's hand. Using his Buddha wisdom to analyze Rowan exhausted him, yet this old fool was just sitting here munching snacks. If Rowan hadn't joined his damn grandson's crew, would Sengoku have been so constrained from the start? Though his calculations showed the ultimate outcome might not differ, just seeing Garp enraged him. In a fit of pique, Sengoku dumped the entire bag of rice crackers into his own mouth. Ah! My rice crackers! Garp yelled instantly. Meanwhile, in Alabasta. Munch munch. Rowan directed a stream of smoke towards a pile of materials. He then activated the munch munch fruit ability, using the smoke as a medium. Directly eating materials with his mouth using the munch munch fruit? The image was too horrifyingly undignified. Fortunately, Rowan found he could channel the fruit's ability through his smoke, making the process look entirely different. Almost technological, such a convenient ability, the munch munch fruit. Usopp commented admiringly as a functional desert vehicle quickly took shape from the consumed materials. The design was Usopp's, his inventor trait was invaluable. Another devil fruit ability. Ace murmured nearby, feeling numb. Just how many did this guy have? After bottling up his questions for so long, Ace finally looked towards Rowan and asked what had been burning in his mind. Chapter 86, Playing Crocodile Like a Fiddle. Rowan. Your ability. Ace began, looking intently at Rowan. He had never encountered someone capable of wielding multiple devil fruit powers before. What bothered Ace the most was that Rowan had used his flare fruit ability. It was common knowledge, only one of each devil fruit existed at any given time. Only after the current user died would the fruit reappear somewhere else in the world. Yet, Ace's own flare power was still present within him. But Rowan had undeniably used the flare fruit's abilities. And wielded them even more powerfully than Ace himself. But as Ace was about to press further, he stopped himself. Possessing such an ability clearly meant Rowan harbored a massive secret. Given they had only just met, directly prying felt inappropriate. There's nothing to hide. Rowan stated calmly, meeting Ace's gaze. I can use multiple devil fruit powers. And I can plunder all powers from others, including their devil fruit abilities. As for how I can use your flare ability, it likely stems from the life and death bond you share with Luffy. A form of spiritual connection. Because Luffy and I are also the closest of comrades, that bond acts as a conduit, allowing me to access your flare power. Rowan understood now. The fuel for equipping traits from mothers, bonds, were essentially manifestations of spiritual power. The physical manifestation of spiritual power was Haki. Spiritual power itself held limitless potential. Naturally, such power could serve as fuel for equipping abilities. Is that even possible? What a frightening ability. Hearing Rowan's explanation, Ace's pupils constricted sharply, staring at Rowan in utter shock. The ability to plunder all powers from others. And using spiritual bonds as a conduit to wield others' abilities. Creating the impossible phenomenon of identical devil fruit powers appearing simultaneously. Such power was unheard of. Ace stared at Rowan, stunned, then slowly composed himself. Is it really alright to tell me something like this? Ace asked seriously, looking at Rowan. This power was too dangerous, too monstrous, too unbelievable. They had only just met. Ace felt his earlier questions were perhaps too forward, yet Rowan had revealed everything without hesitation. You're Luffy's brother. That's enough. Rowan replied with a warm smile. I never hide anything from my comrades. That includes the people they trust most. Rowan finished. Hearing this, Luffy, Usopp, Zoro, and Sanji all grinned. Nami and Vivi looked at Rowan, their eyes shining brightly. Robin pressed her lips together, looking at Rowan, a strange light flickering in her own eyes. Comrades. A word that felt like an unattainable luxury to her. Yet Rowan spoke of his abilities openly, not hiding anything even from her. This man. Did he truly consider her a comrade worthy of trust? Robin felt a significant emotional tremor, her eyes gleaming with complex curiosity. Sun God, Apex Gold, equipping progress significantly increased. Azure Aura, Special, equipping progress significantly increased. Modified Exoskeleton equipping progress significantly increased. Anthem of Courage, Special, equipping progress significantly increased. A series of notifications flashed before Rowan. I see. Ace murmured, looking at Rowan with genuine admiration. For Ace, who belonged to the Whitebeard Pirates. A crew centered around the concept of family. This man before him possessed incredible charisma. I swear on my life, I'll keep this secret. Ace declared with utmost seriousness. Relax. We're friends already, aren't we? Rowan clapped Ace on the shoulder, laughing heartily. He knew Ace's character well, he had no concerns about Ace revealing anything. Besides, he also needed to slowly break down Robin's emotional walls. Sensing Robin's emotional shift with his observation Haki, Rowan smiled faintly. Robin's psychological scars ran even deeper than Nami's. Rowan was determined to help her overcome them. He certainly wouldn't let things devolve into some ridiculous Robin retrieval arc involving Cypher Pol 9 agent like in the original story. Those failures weren't worthy of dictating Rowan's path. Rowan was a man who took control of everything himself. Ha ha ha. Right. We're friends now. Ace laughed back easily. My little brother. He's always been rather willful. Thank you all for looking after him. Ace said, his smile fading slightly as he looked towards Rowan and the others, bowing deeply. Luffy's brother is surprisingly polite. Zoro commented, genuinely taken aback. Anything can happen on the sea. The others nodded in agreement. By the way, Ace, why did you come to Alabasta? Luffy asked curiously. I'm chasing someone. Ace's expression instantly turned razor sharp. Trusting Rowan and his crew completely now. Ace didn't hide anything, recounting the entire story of Blackbeard murdering a comrade and stealing a devil fruit. Hearing about the betrayal enraged the Straw Hats. I heard someone defeated Blackbeard in Yuba, so I came to Alabasta to check. Ace explained, looking towards the distance. Yuba? That place is the rebel army leader's base. Vivi stated, her expression immediately turning serious. Rowan. Do you think I can succeed if I go there and try to stop the rebellion? The rebel leader used to be my friend. Vivi asked, looking towards Rowan for guidance. Now, Vivi's heart belonged entirely to Rowan. She trusted his decisions completely. No. Going there would be pointless. Rowan replied slowly, looking at Vivi. With Baroque orcs constantly fanning the flames, and the clone fruit ability in play. Even if the rebel leader agreed to stop now, Crocodile would force his hand. The rebellion is inevitable. Rowan placed a comforting hand on Vivi's shoulder. To end all this, there's only one way. You know what it is, don't you, Vivi? Rowan looked intently into her eyes. Defeat Crocodile. Vivi whispered, biting her lip. Exactly. Until Crocodile is taken down, everything else is futile. Rowan stated, gazing towards the distant desert. "Where is that crocodile guy?" Luffy immediately yelled. "In Rain Base." Vivi named the city. "We don't need to go there either," Rowan stated calmly, just as the others were getting fired up. Yeah. Everyone looked confusedly at Rowan. "Don't forget. Robin is on our side now. The initiative is ours. If we simply show ourselves in Alubarna, the capital, he will obediently walk into our trap. The rebel army, fueled by Crocodile's manipulations, will also target Alubarna. We eliminate Crocodile there, reveal the truth, end the rebellion, and restore peace to Alabasta. All at once." Rowan explained with a calm, confident smile. He had no time to play Crocodile's cat-and-mouse games across the desert. With Robin providing intel, the advantage lay entirely with Rowan. He refused to follow Crocodile's script like in the original story. Instead, he would make Crocodile walk right into his setup. Crocodile had no other choice. "I see. With the initiative entirely ours, we can choose the battlefield, control the entire situation. And returning to the capital early allows Vivi to inform her father of everything, giving them time to prepare. Plus, the clone fruits disguises are useless against your observation hockey. After defeating Crocodile, we can reveal the truth to the citizens and the rebels simultaneously, completely restoring peace to Alabasta." "What a brilliant plan, Rowan." Sanji, with his sharp mind, quickly grasped the strategy, looking at Rowan with admiration. "Taking the initiative like this. I like it." Zoro grinned. Following Rowan's strategy, they never lost the upper hand. It was always others being led by the nose by Rowan. Even warlords were no exception. "Rowan," Vivi murmured, looking at him, her eyes sparkling. In Rowan's hands, no problem seemed insurmountable. "Impressive," Ace acknowledged, understanding the situation in Alabasta now after listening to Rowan's plan. He was deeply impressed. This man possessed not only immense power and terrifying abilities but also brilliant strategic thinking. "Well then, I'll head towards Yuba," Ace said, shouldering his pack. "Be careful," Rowan replied, clapping Ace on the shoulder, then turned to Usopp. "Usopp. Materials." Whoosh. Smoke enveloped the materials Usopp produced. Rowan activated the Munch fruit ability, quickly constructing a small desert vehicle. "Use this. It'll make desert travel easier," Rowan offered to Ace. Rowan didn't intend to stop Ace from pursuing Blackbeard. It wasn't just about the future Summit War. Even Whitebeard couldn't dissuade Ace. Rowan trying would be pointless. People don't learn from words, only experience teaches. Being able to use multiple devil fruit abilities certainly is convenient. "Thanks." Ace chuckled. "Luffy. This is for you." Ace tossed Luffy a small piece of paper. "With this, we'll definitely meet again." Ace smiled. "A Vivre card?" Rowan commented knowingly. "That's right. You really know a lot, Rowan." Ace grinned. "My little brother causes a lot of trouble. Please continue to look after him," Ace said, bowing deeply again to Rowan and the crew. "Yeah," Rowan replied calmly. "See you later, Rowan." Ace smiled and waved. "Your brother is so polite. Nothing like you," Sanji commented dryly to Luffy as they watched Ace depart. Shishishi. Ace is Ace. I am me." Luffy grinned cheerfully. "Alright. Let's head to Alubarna," Rowan stated, watching Ace's retreating figure. "The next time we meet, we'll be at the Summit War." He then turned back to the crew with a smile. "Ooh." The crew boarded the desert vehicle Rowan created, speeding off towards Alubarna. Rain Base. Still. Absolutely no word back. Crocodile hissed, his expression incredibly dark and grim. He had deployed Baroque Works agents across the entire Alabastan coastline, yet received zero reports regarding Nefertari Vivi's whereabouts. Either Vivi hadn't returned to Alabasta yet, or the one helping her was far more formidable than he imagined. No news of Vivi or Robin. "But I did receive this," Crocodile muttered, looking down at the wanted posters on his desk, his eyes filled with malice. Sky Sovereign Rowan. Bounty, 100 million Bailey. Crocodile certainly knew the name of this super rookie causing such a stir across the seas recently. User of Conqueror's Hockey. Clashed with Mihawk back in the East Blue. He didn't expect him to show up in Alabasta. Although this rookie possessed Conqueror's Hockey and a bounty exceeding his own frozen one, Crocodile hadn't initially been concerned. His bounty was decades old, frozen upon becoming a warlord. A mere 100 million Bailey meant nothing to him. But what Crocodile hadn't expected. This man had somehow drawn Vice Admiral Giant here. Crocodile knew Giant's strength well. An admiral candidate. Though far inferior to a true admiral, she was still among the top powerhouses on the sea, leagues above standard vice admirals. What shocked Crocodile even more? Giant had actually fought Sky Sovereign Rowan. Though the battle was fierce, preventing his billions agents in Nanohana from getting close, reports indicated Giant was actually at a disadvantage. Completely unable to handle Rowan. And although the final outcome was unknown, Giant had clearly abandoned her pursuit of Rowan. The Admiral candidate had failed. This news seemed utterly unbelievable to Crocodile. If not for multiple reports confirming it, he would have dismissed it entirely. A rookie, just entering the Grand Line, fought an Admiral candidate and held the upper hand? It sounded like the biggest joke on the entire sea. Worse still, the man's whereabouts were now unknown. And Giant remained in Alabasta. This further complicated Crocodile's already troubled situation regarding Robin and Vivi, casting a dark shadow over his plans. Dealing with someone of Giant's caliber would be extremely difficult if she interfered with his operation. Burrow. 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 Just then, his transponder snail rang. Crocodile looked at the calling number. It was from his surveillance team monitoring the Royal Palace in Alubarna. Click. Mr. Zero speaking. Crocodile stated gravely. Boss. Ms. Wednesday has appeared. And Miss All Sunday is with her. The agent reported loudly. Where are they? Crocodile felt a surge of unease. Right here in Alubarna. The agent replied quickly. What? Hearing the confirmation, Crocodile's pupils constricted sharply. Appeared directly in the capital, Alubarna? Did that mean his entire intelligence network along the coast failed completely? Who in the world was helping Nefertari Vivi? Who else is with them? Crocodile demanded, his voice laced with malice. Also. Straw Hat Monkey D. Luffy, bounty 45 million. And. The agent's voice trembled, the snail's projected face suddenly contorting in absolute terror. And WHO else? Crocodile roared, his eyes narrowing dangerously, though he already suspected the answer. And. Me. The voice from the transponder snail suddenly changed, taking on a surprisingly powerful, confident tone. SKY Sovereign Rowan. Crocodile snarled, his face turning utterly grim. Chapter 87, Bonus, Negotiation? I only want your life. SKY Sovereign Rowan. Crocodile snarled, his face a mask of utter darkness as he stared at the image projected by the transponder snail. Though he had never met the man in person, the snail's mimicry, combined with the user's voice, always bore a resemblance. That supremely confident smile was identical to the one on the wanted poster. Combined with the agent's earlier report that Straw Hat Luffy was also present. The identity of the person on the other end of the line was undeniable. Crocodile's expression grew incredibly grim. So. It was this man helping Nefertari Vivi. If Crocodile had previously dismissed this super rookie as insignificant. Now, a deep sense of foreboding settled in his heart. Combat strength capable of overwhelming Vice Admiral Giant. Even in the New World, that signified an absolute powerhouse. With such an ally, no wonder Mr. One and the others were defeated swiftly. Mr. One was strong, yes, but before someone of that caliber, he was like dust. Mr. 3 and the others wouldn't even register. With such a force involved, and Giant still lurking in Alabasta. The situation had become incredibly complicated. Worse still. Nico Robin was in this man's hands. Crocodile's mind raced, his dark thoughts churning. What was this man's objective? Why interfere in Alabasta's affairs? But the man's next word sent Crocodile into an immediate, incandescent rage. You want Pluton? Want to know where it is? Seeing the mocking smile on the transponder snail's projected face, veins bulged on Crocodile's forehead. Did that woman, Nico Robin, betray me? Crocodile hissed, his voice dangerously low. Betrayal? Weren't you two just in a cooperative relationship? Besides, for something this simple, do I even need Robin to tell me? If you want Pluton's location, come to Alubarna. I'll give you 2 days. I have no patience to play your pathetic little build-a-military nation games. Understood, Crocodile? Click. Before Crocodile could utter a single word, the call was disconnected. Bastard! Crocodile roared, smashing the transponder snail against the wall, his eyes bloodshot. It had always been him threatening others, manipulating others, leading others by the nose. Now, to be so blatantly toyed with by some brat who had just entered the Grand Line. Only giving him 2 days? The sheer arrogance. Who did this brat think he was? What enraged Crocodile even more was that his opponent clearly knew about Operation Utopia. And had contemptuously dismissed it as a pathetic little game. The most infuriating part? He truly had no other choice. He had to reach Alubarna within 2 days. Otherwise, if this man left Alabasta with Nico Robin, the sea was vast, where would he ever find her again? If Pluton fell into this brat's hands, then all his years of planning and scheming would have been for nothing. merely paving the way for this upstart. After running through all possibilities, the only course of action left was to do exactly as the brat dictated, reach Alubarna within 2 days. This feeling of being manipulated, forced to follow this brat's plan, for Crocodile, who was accustomed to controlling everything, was maddening. Bastard. Since you want to help Nefertari Vivi, then just you wait. Crocodile seethed, his eyes bloodshot. He began issuing orders. Mr. 2 was to head immediately to the rebel army's headquarters, use his clone fruit ability to impersonate their leader, Koza, and instigate immediate, widespread conflict. All Baroque Works agents infiltrated within Alabasta's royal army and the rebel army were to immediately begin sowing discord and escalating hostilities between the two factions. He would plunge Alabasta into the flames of total war. Buru buru buru. Just as a sliver of vengeful satisfaction began to course through Crocodile, the transponder snail rang again. Seeing the snail he had smashed against the wall now lying on the floor, Crocodile's eye twitched, but he had no choice but to use his sand fruit powers to retrieve it. Click. Oh, by the way. If you're thinking of using the clone fruit or your infiltrated agents to incite war, I'll be very displeased. And you should know what happens when I'm displeased, right, Crocodile? The snail projected an image of an intensely mocking smile, then immediately disconnected again. Crocodile's face contorted in a silent snarl. Bastard. That bastard. He deliberately didn't say that earlier. Crocodile knew that kind of smile all too well. It was the smile of someone relishing complete control, toying with an insignificant ant. Because when he was the one in control, toying with his own pawns, he wore the exact same smile. Only now, he was the one being toyed with. But a cruel, predatory grin slowly spread across Crocodile's own face. So what if this man knew about Operation Utopia through Nico Robin? Crocodile still had one final, hidden trump card. That super bomb. With an explosion radius of 5 kilometers. A bomb not even Nico Robin knew about. Since this brat specifically forbade him from inciting rebellion in Alabasta, it proved one thing: the brat cared deeply about Alabasta, or perhaps about the Nefertari Vivi. Sometimes. Being arrogant, assuming you control everything. That was the most fatal mistake. Through this conversation, the brat had inadvertently handed Crocodile a crucial piece of intel. This bomb, capable of obliterating Alubarna, was Crocodile's ultimate bargaining chip. Little brat. Thinking you can control everything? You're still far too naive. Crocodile stared at the disconnected transponder snail, his smile growing even more savage. Alubarna, Royal Palace of Alabasta. What an incredible bomb. And it's timed. Usopp exclaimed, cold sweat beading on his forehead as he examined the massive explosive device before them. Crocodile. That bastard. Vivi's father, King Nefertari Cobra of Alabasta, stared at the bomb, his face pale with lingering fear. If not for Rowan. If this bomb had detonated in the heart of Alubarna. Cobra shivered just imagining it. Even I didn't know about this bomb. But Crocodile. That man was always this insidious. Robin commented, fine beads of sweat also appearing on her brow as she looked at the device. Rowan. Thank you. Thank you so much. Vivi cried, tears welling in her eyes as she threw herself into Rowan's arms. At this moment, Vivi could no longer hide her emotions. She clung tightly to Rowan, greedily inhaling his scent, which brought her an immense sense of security. Vivi didn't dare imagine what would have become of Alabasta under Crocodile's heinous plan if not for Rowan. I told you. I wouldn't let you wear that expression again. Rowan said gently, stroking Vivi's hair, feeling the warmth of her embrace, a soft smile on his face. Nearby, King Cobra watched them, his eyes initially wide, then softening into a resigned, understanding smile. For Cobra, his daughter's happiness was paramount. And this man had saved Alabasta. But Rowan, why didn't you just expose Crocodile's entire plot directly? Usopp asked curiously. If I revealed everything, what if he got scared and didn't show up? You need leverage to bring someone to the bargaining table. Rowan replied with a smile. After arriving in Alubarna, Vivi had told King Cobra everything. Rowan, meanwhile, used his observation hockey to locate the bomb, finding it exactly where it was placed in the original story. The clock tower in Alubarna's main plaza. Only after neutralizing all unstable factors did Rowan deliberately reveal their presence. Otherwise, with Rowan's current observation and Conqueror's hockey, the few spies Crocodile had stationed here would never have detected them and Vivi. Including my second call. Forbidding Crocodile from inciting rebellion. The primary goal was, of course, to minimize casualties from war in Alabasta. The secondary goal was to convey to Crocodile that I value Alabasta, that I value Vivi. It also makes Crocodile think I'm an arrogant fool who believes he has everything under control. That way, This bomb becomes Crocodile's biggest bargaining chip. And with a chip like that, of course he'll dare to come to the table. Rowan explained. SUG. Everything is completely under your control, Rowan. Usopp exclaimed, looking at Rowan with awe. The others also smiled. Rowan's mind was always so sharp, following his strategy, they always held the absolute initiative. Hearing Rowan say he valued her, Vivi blushed deeply, but this time, she didn't look away, meeting Rowan's gaze directly. Princess Vivi has really grown up, Chaka, user of the dog fruit model, Jackal, and Pel, user of the bird fruit model, Falcon. Hailed as Alabasta's two guardian deities. Watched Vivi from nearby, their expressions fond. They had watched Vivi grow up, she was like a niece to them. And the partner she's found is outstanding. That crocodile, known for his cunning schemes, is being completely played by this young man. Pel added, awestruck. Princess Vivi's judgment, of course, is never wrong. Chaka agreed with a smile. If Crocodile contacts you, you know how to respond, right? Rowan asked, looking towards Mr. Seven and Miss Father's Day, the Baroque Works agents originally assigned to guard the bomb, with a calm smile. Why yes. Understood. Mr. Seven and Miss Father's Day replied fearfully. All right. Put this bomb back where you found it. I've already dealt with its contents using the Munch fruit. It's just an empty shell now. That way, even if Crocodile sends someone to check, they won't find anything. Rowan explained, smiling at King Cobra. A flawless plan. Cobra praised, deeply impressed. Next, we just wait for Crocodile to walk right into our net. Rowan finished, a confident smile on his face. After so much preparation, it was finally time to close the net. After ending the call with Rowan, Crocodile raced frantically towards Salubarna. Finally, within the 2-day deadline Rowan had set, he arrived. The tight schedule left even Crocodile looking somewhat fatigued, his eyes burning with suppressed fury. It had been a long time since he had been led by the nose like this. But the biggest trump card was still in his hands. Looking towards Salubarna's most prominent clock tower, Crocodile's lips twisted into a savage grin. Then, Crocodile began to enter Alubarna. Mr. Crocodile. Crocodile made his entrance into Alubarna with great fanfare. Using his warlord status, Crocodile had propagated influence in Alabasta for years. By hunting down pirates causing trouble and leveraging newspaper propaganda, he had successfully crafted an image as Alabasta's hero. This ostentatious entrance was designed to draw more attention, to use these foolish, manipulated citizens to further strengthen his hand. Crocodile wore a false smile, attracting the gazes of more citizens as he headed towards the royal palace. But he hadn't taken more than a few steps when... whoosh! Bang! A fist, gleaming with the dark, metallic sheen of armament hockey, slammed heavily into Crocodile's face. Whoosh! Under the immense force, Crocodile's face contorted violently. He was sent flying like a cannonball. At that moment, Crocodile was completely stunned. It wasn't just the shock of being hit in the head by hockey, he was utterly bewildered by the situation. Hadn't he just arrived in Alubarna, exactly as this brat demanded? Didn't this brat have something? Using Pluton as leverage? To negotiate with him? Otherwise, why go through all this trouble to make him come to Alubarna? Before arriving, Crocodile had considered countless possibilities. But never this. He hadn't even seen the brat's face properly, hadn't exchanged a single word. And he was instantly sent flying by a hockey-infused punch. Took you long enough. I was getting impatient, Crocodile. Rowan's voice, laced with laughter, called out as he transformed into a stream of smoke, rocketing towards the airborne Crocodile. Whoosh! Crocodile dissolved into a swirl of sand, reforming on an empty patch of ground nearby, attempting to use his elemental form to mitigate the secondary impact damage. But the next moment... whoosh! Bang! Crocodile's remaining good hand was wrenched behind his back by Rowan. Crocodile was instantly captured by Rowan. Sky Sovereign Rowan. Crocodile twisted his head, glaring murderously at Rowan, his eyes bloodshot. His head was still spinning. Being struck in the head by hockey so unexpectedly. Crocodile hadn't fully recovered his senses yet. Such powerful hockey. Crocodile looked at Rowan, veins bulging on his forehead. That's me. Rowan replied with a wide grin. What in the world are you doing? Crocodile finally sensed something was terribly wrong. This place was too quiet. No one around. This empty space felt like it had been deliberately prepared. Almost as if it were a specially designed battlefield. Figured it out? That's right. This place is where you'll be buried. Rowan stated, smiling as he observed Crocodile's dawning horror. The sand fruit, among logias, was only T2, Tier 2. Inferior to the flare fruit. Even awakened, Based solely on its fruit power, it only reached the deep gold trait tier. Furthermore, the sand fruit had a fatal weakness: water. If the user was doused with water, they couldn't use their sand powers. And its ability to absorb water was limited to the user's hands. Crocodile, having only one hand, meant that ability was already halved. And now, Crocodile's remaining water-absorbing hand was pinned behind his back by Rowan. As for why Rowan prepared this specific battlefield? Naturally, to ensure Crocodile's defeat with absolute certainty. The sand fruit's power was greatly amplified in a desert environment. Rowan certainly wouldn't allow Crocodile any home field advantage. From the moment Crocodile stepped into Alubarna, his fate was sealed. A terrifying killing intent enveloped Crocodile. My burial place? Crocodile's face turned ashen. In that instant, Crocodile finally grasped the truth. Rowan had absolutely no intention of negotiating with him. This brat only wanted his life. Elementize. With his main water-absorbing hand captured, Crocodile immediately tried to dissolve into sand, hoping to create distance from Rowan. While Haki could strike a Logia user's true body, if the user could negate the Haki on the captured part of their body with their devil fruit power, they could still elementize. Boom. Chapter 88, Plundering Fortune. Conqueror's Coding. Admiral level. Boom. A tyrannical crimson black light flared violently in Rowan's eyes. The next moment, it seemed to solidify, erupting into crackling arcs of crimson black lightning that danced wildly through the atmosphere. Under this overwhelming surge, Crocodile, who was in the process of elementizing into sand, froze mid-transformation. Elementalization failed. Before Conqueror's Haki could be infused into attacks, it couldn't directly inflict fatal damage on Crocodile. However, by disrupting his mental state for a crucial instant, it could temporarily halt his elemental transformation. And that momentary halt was all Rowan needed. Smoke release. Munch release. Whoosh. White smoke instantly enveloped Crocodile's body. Then, from within the smoke, a large volume of seawater, which Rowan had previously munched and stored, was forcefully expelled. Splash. The seawater completely drenched Crocodile's body. A horrifying wave of weakness washed over him, his face contorting in horror. This is seawater? No way. How can your fruit contain seawater? Crocodile shrieked, his eyes wide with utter disbelief. Devil fruit users, in exchange for their mighty powers, were cursed by Mother Sea, becoming unable to swim. Seawater was the absolute bane of every devil fruit user. Contact with it nullified their fruit powers and sapped nearly all their strength. Yet this man's fruit somehow concealed seawater? And this was the smoke fruit's power, right? How could the smoke fruit store seawater? Drenched and powerless, Crocodile was utterly bewildered. I'm under no obligation to answer your questions, Crocodile. Rowan replied with a chilling smile. Although Rowan's current strength was more than enough to defeat Crocodile conventionally, this was Vivi's country. A full-blown Logia battle would undoubtedly cause massive collateral damage to Alubarna. Combining the munch fruit with the smoke fruit allowed Rowan to store seawater beforehand and then release it, instantly neutralizing Crocodile. With such an efficient method available, why bother with a drawn-out fight? Rowan was a pirate. Maximizing profit. Obtaining what he wanted. That was the pirate way. Alright, Crocodile. You can die peacefully now, Rowan stated, the tyrannical crimson black light flaring in his eyes as he looked down at the completely helpless warlord. Wait. Why you care deeply about Alabasta, about Nefertari Vivi, don't you? Otherwise, why go to such lengths to help her? In Alubarna, there's a super bomb. If I don't give the order to stop it within 2 hours, that bomb will detonate in Alubarna. Crocodile, sensing overwhelming killing intent, paled and desperately played his final trump card. Super bomb? Rowan looked at Crocodile. That's right. That bomb is powerful enough to destroy the entire city and everyone in Alubarna. What do you gain by killing me? The fame of defeating a warlord? Your reputation is already massive, you don't need that. Instead, let's cooperate. We can transform Alabasta into a military nation. With us working together, the entire sea will be ours in the future. Aren't you? The man WHO will stand above all? Crocodile pleaded, attempting to tempt Rowan. Interesting. Ha 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 ha. Rowan laughed. How about it? Cooperate with me. Sky Sovereign Rowan. Ha 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 ha. Crocodile, thinking he had swayed Rowan, let out his signature laugh. What I find interesting is everything you just said is being broadcast live, you idiot. Rowan stated, gesturing towards the numerous image transponder snails strategically placed around them. Crocodile's triumphant laughter froze instantly on his face. Crocodile is that kind of person. Just like His Majesty said. Damn you, crocodile. In Alubarna's main plaza, the citizens of Alabasta, watching the live broadcast, erupted in outrage. Before Crocodile's arrival, this area had been set up as a public viewing point. During the past 2 days, Rowan hadn't just been waiting. He used his observation hockey to locate and neutralize all Baroque Works agents hidden within the Royal Army and Alubarna. Their distinct auras and emotional states made them stand out clearly from normal citizens and loyal soldiers under Rowan's focused pale gold tier observation hockey. Then, King Cobra revealed Crocodile's entire plot to the people of Alubarna. Though some, influenced by Crocodile's carefully crafted hero image, were initially skeptical, Cobra simply requested they come and watch the broadcast. The truth revealed itself, exactly as Cobra and Rowan had planned. The welcoming crowd for Crocodile in Alubarna was, of course, composed of disguised Royal Army soldiers, but where is that bomb? The citizens now erupted in panic. Citizens, listen to me. A beautiful figure appeared on the clock tower, her voice amplified. The bomb has already been dealt with. Princess Vivi? Seeing her, the crowd's panic gradually subsided. Bastard. Seeing the image transponder snails, Crocodile felt like he was being publicly shamed before all of Alabasta. He didn't care about that, of course. He was a pirate. Even becoming a warlord was just a means to obtain Pluton. But this meant this man never intended for him to live. Fine. If that's how it is, then this city can accompany me to hell. Crocodile snarled savagely. Beg for mercy? Crocodile would rather die. But this city would die with him. Alubarna Plaza Clock Tower. Mr. 7 and Miss Father's Day. Rowan's calm words struck Crocodile like a thunderbolt. Why you? Crocodile stared at Rowan in utter horror. How did you know? Not even Nico Robin knew about that backup plan. Crocodile hissed like a wounded beast, glaring at Rowan. You can ponder that question in hell. Rowan replied, slowly raising his hockey-coated fist. No. Crocodile roared in defiance. Then, the hockey-infused fist descended, engulfing him completely. Crocodile, who had inflicted so much psychological torment on Vivi. Rowan would never let him live. Crunch. The lifeless body of Crocodile was broadcast live via the image transponder snails. One of the 7 warlords of the sea. Crocodile has fallen. Iconic pirate faction figure, Warlord Crocodile, has fallen. Faction Fortune, Apex Gold, activated. Plundering all of target's warlord fortune. Conqueror's Hockey immensely strengthened. Tier advanced. Upgraded to Conqueror's Hockey, Deep Gold. VMM. A horrible crimson black light flared violently in Rowan's eyes. Faction Fortune. After plundering and converting, massively boosted his Conqueror's Hockey. Conqueror's Hockey. Advanced to Deep Gold tier. Conqueror's Hockey, Deep Gold, initial mastery of Conqueror's Hockey infusion for attacks. Crackle. 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 Arcs of crimson black lightning now crackled wildly around Rowan's entire body. Compared to before, this manifested hockey lightning was incomparably more violent. Crack. Crack. The tyrannical aura even caused the ground beneath Rowan's feet to crack and splinter. Rowan raised his right fist, his eyes narrowing intensely. VMM. The roaring, rampaging crimson black lightning, now like obedient sprites, surged towards Rowan's right fist, coalescing around it. Forming a thin, pulsating film of pure crimson black energy. While darks of hockey lightning continued to rage around him. Feeling this power, a fierce, commanding curve touched Rowan's lips. The most domineering power in the One Piece world. What Emperor Kaido described as only hockey can transcend all. Conqueror's Hockey, infusion. Conqueror's Coating. New trait, Conqueror's Coating, infused Conqueror's Attack, Apex Gold, a devastating attack infused with Conqueror's Hockey. Its offensive power is supreme across all seas. Its violent force terrifies even strong individuals who cannot wield it. A full-power Conqueror's Coating attack from a peak Emperor can instantly defeat 4 Emperor's Commander-level fighters. Even Admiral-level fighters without Conqueror's Coating, except those with extreme offensive devil fruits like Akanu's Magma, cannot match its raw destructive power. Even with initial mastery of infusion, the attack power of Conqueror's Coating reaches the Apex Gold tier threshold. Admiral level. Like Gear 4th Luffy in the Onigashima War. Undoubtedly 4 Emperor's Commander level, strong enough to defeat Doflamingo. Yet still instantly defeated by Kaido's full-power Conqueror's Coating blow. And Yamato, not yet true Admiral level, could contend with Kaido solely because of Conqueror's Coating. The reason Yamato wasn't yet considered true Admiral level despite using Conqueror's Coating. Rowan now understood. The stamina consumption is huge. Rowan exhaled slowly, feeling the immense drain. Strengthening Conqueror's Hockey, Unlike armament hockey, didn't require corresponding physique improvement, only spiritual strength mattered. But Conqueror's coding attacks were overwhelmingly powerful, that using them consumed not only spiritual energy at an alarming rate but also massive amounts of physical stamina. Before his Conqueror's coding reserves were depleted, Rowan's attacks were indeed admiral level. But because he had only initially mastered infusion, his stamina and spiritual reserves couldn't sustain Conqueror's coding attacks for long. His endurance couldn't compare to true admiral level fighters.